I cannot hold it anymore.
Is there an after show, Jose, or no? I didn't hear.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
there's an after
You're
show.
in. Yeah.
We are in the after show now.
I'm in it. All right. So, well, I don't want to take the show over. Was there any hangover?
No, take it. Go for it, Chris.
Al, do you have 5 minutes?
Go for it, Chris. I guess. Sure.
Yeah,
So
you
yesterday-
have a couple of minutes.
Chris, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Right, I'm literally just leaving the house just now to go drive and get my girlfriend, so it will need to be quick.
All right. Well, I said that, and I don't have my links. The links pull up that I had up yesterday. So,
If it helps, I checked back in and caught the last bit where you jumped in at the last minute with the description of refraction and the speed of light.
right. So basically, the concept is the question is, does the speed of light change with the change in density of medium? The answer is yes, and the change in medium is due to the change in temperature of the atmosphere. So all those things combined change the angle of light itself, which causes refraction in the atmosphere. It has nothing to do with the shape of the ground that you're standing on.
No. I'm
Chris,
sorry, you didn't understand the thing that you read.
Chris, it goes the other way too. Chris, it goes the other way too. If you produce pressure in a bottle, it will increase heat.
I'm not talking about pressure.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the relationship between those two. My bad.
No, Al-K is claiming that you need a curved surface to have atmospheric refraction, and that's just patently untrue. And I read two citations yesterday that showed that that's not true, and he's still claiming otherwise. So I don't know what else.
They didn't say what you think they said. You read out the part about the speed of light.
No, they absolutely
You
did.
also read out the part about an incidence angle, and you assumed that the speed of light was the thing that mattered because it suited you. But you're ignoring the incidence angle problem.
No, I'm not.
The angle is important here.
No, you didn't hear. Maybe you didn't hear this. Maybe you heard the first source, not the second. So the second source says the angle of incidence is changed within the medium itself.
Well, Chris, maybe it would help me if you explain like what the idea is. Like, just like tell me what the whole idea is.
So
like what happens.
So there's still some ballers, Al-K being one, who claim that we can't even have refraction on a flat Earth, and that is patently false. Atmospheric refraction.
I need to interrupt just quickly because I do need to go. I stated many times yesterday. I gave you the example. I showed you the laser to help you visualize it. That if you're looking through a corridor of light where the density does not change, the light will travel in a straight path. And you didn't seem to grasp that simple point.
Barney Tearsfeld, who's a baller, sent a video showing that it does curve with the horizontal angle.
He didn't.
What are we trying to prove? What are we trying to prove?
It's so frustrating because you think that Barney is backing you up and he really isn't.
He is.
Barney is really backing up.
I might be slow here, but what are you trying to prove?
Hold on, person talking. Barney, what did you say?
Yeah, sorry.
I said Barney is really backing this up. Refraction will happen on flat Earth as well, and it will happen if you
Barney,
have a
you're in a tunnel. We can't understand anything you're saying. You're in a tunnel.
He said he's backing me up, and refraction will happen on a flat Earth. That's what he said.
Okay, cool. So what is the point that's being proven here? Like, what is the point?
Well, basically, the point is look, we're just getting to a baseline, right? A baseline of a starting point. So the starting point for Al-K is you can't even have atmospheric refraction on a flat Earth. Okay, fine. That's
okay, let's say Al-K is wrong. What are we going from there? What are we doing from there?
Well, from there we understand you can have atmospheric refraction on a flat Earth, and you don't need a curved surface where the light's coming up over that curve.
All right,
Barney, wait, I've got a clarification, and I think this might help. Barney, if you're hearing...
He said he'll be back on in 15 minutes or something.
Okay, well, I'll ask you then, Chris.
I can join, but it will be loud and...
It's very loud and stop
Very loud. Very loud.
No, Barney, just
never mind, Barney. Never.
Give her a little spanking. She'll be all right.
Chris, was the refraction due to the light source being above or within the medium?
Either way, it doesn't matter.
No, it does matter.
No, it doesn't.
All
No,
right.
it doesn't.
I need to go and get Bird.
It doesn't matter. If you use a flashlight across the lake or if you use the sun, you're going to have atmospheric refraction.
You're not getting me.
Probably not.
That's why I wanted to
Okay,
clarify
so
with Barney, because having the light refract within the medium with no change in the density of the medium.
There is a change.
Doesn't make
There is
sense.
a change in the density of the atmosphere. There's always a change. There's a gradient from the bottom to the top and horizontally left to right because you're looking through more atmosphere. And there's a temperature gradient from bottom to top, which is creating a what do you call it? A refractive index.
How high is the sun?
doesn't matter.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. That's
Yes, it
why-
does.
What does it have to do with atmospheric refraction? Oh my god.
That's
Because the height of the sun will determine. That's a part of the formula
of
when
your
it comes to
formula.
looking at. That's not even the thing, dude. You're not gonna go. It's your formula. What is the height? You have to know how much is refraction by the angle in which it's refracting.
No, you don't.
No.
All right.
Okay, so
Red
you're
Flag
making a
Allowed
claim.
crap the other day too, and I'm not going to let you do it either. If the sun is directed, there will be essentially no refraction. Down within the last.
Hold on, Bob. Hold on, Bob.
Hold on, we can't hear you, Bob.
There's a
Bob,
lot of
we
noise.
can't hear you
Maxwell,
really well.
Stop talking and listen to what I'm saying.
I
If
can't
the
hear you
sun is
very well, so I don't know if
directly above you,
there's.
going to be essentially no refraction. If it's down on the horizon, very low, there will be refraction, and the sun will. The rays of the light, or the rays of the sun, will be bent downward, and the sun will appear to be higher.
Okay, but listen, you guys are going off on a tangent we're not even talking about. There's a question on the table from Al K, there's a claim that you need a curved surface that the light is bending up and wrapping around to have atmospheric refraction. I'm saying otherwise. I've proven otherwise. Barney Tierspell, who's a baller, is agreeing with me.
I also agree with you.
Okay, thank you. So now we're at a baseline that you can have atmospheric refraction on a flat Earth. Now, if you want to talk about the sun angle and this and that, fine, but that's a different topic. We're just trying to set a baseline of terms and agreements.
Right. So now let me jump in with what I've done in terms of photography. If
Are you going to bring up the house
atmospheric
again?
refraction can happen on a flat Earth, and if atmospheric refraction can happen on the Earth when I'm looking at an oil rig or an island, how am I supposed to interpret, what data am I going to incorporate into that photograph in order to understand what it is I'm
So
seeing?
let's say that we say that atmospheric refraction happens on a flat Earth. Sure. Which way and how do we measure it? Like, how do you?
It happens in every direction.
I don't think it
happens in
does.
every
I don't think it
direction, right? So
happens
if
in
I'm
every
looking at-
direction. Like,
Okay, so all right, so in my experience, and I'm working on putting together a presentation where I think that I will be able to show you compression in one photograph of the same object, in another one magnification of that same object at the same focal length. So we have variance in size, and that is in all directions. It's so.
What about when it doesn't do that?
Then that is another variable that we have to discuss. But my point is that
No, that's a very important variable.
I don't deny that. I think that that's all we have to take all. So if I have 5 different shots and one shot is crystal clear, I'm not going to say there is no refraction. I don't think that that's possible. So it's a matter of degree. Okay, so if I've got one that's absolutely crystal clear, and I do, I've got it straight down across to the shoreline. You can count the windows. If a dog were sitting on the porch, you'd see the dog. In other images, you don't even know what that image is. If I showed it to you, you wouldn't know it was a house. Same distance.
Which one?
Sure.
Which one reflects reality the most?
They both do.
No.
Yes.
One is reality. One is an optical effect.
No, they're both an optical effect.
You understand what I'm talking about, right?
Okay, I'm seeing both things. That's real. What I'm seeing it.
That's not what I'm asking.
Okay.
That's not what I'm saying. You're if you made, do you have 365 individual photos of a specific time period of that same observation? And has that observation been done at multiple points during the day?
I would say yes. I've made multiple observations during the day of the same object. I don't know that I would say that there's 365.
That's the problem, is you're using a small sample size.
No.
For one. Yes. No. That is a small sample size, and you're trying to make a determination of what is really happening.
You're going to get 365 things. You're not going to get anything uniform.
You're making the assumption based on you have no.
How about this?
You have
making a prediction.
That's at this point is an assumption.
It's my hypothesis. If I take
then
here's my hypothesis.
Then you'll have to. The only way that you can continue on with this conversation is in 1 year from now, after you've taken multiple shots throughout the day, 365 days, collect the data, and then see where the anomalies are compared to what is the against the norm. If the norm turns out to be just standard refraction, where you have a little bit of fuzziness or whatever, some small amount of atmospheric effect, and the anomalies, which are the lensing and the magnification and the miraging and all that kind of jazz, those are the anomaly.
No, those are that is the standard.
You don't get to choose that way, man.
That's my hypothesis. My hypothesis. Can I finish my hypothesis, please?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, my hypothesis is if I take a picture at 9 o'clock in the morning consecutively for 365 days, I will have 365 different images.
No. Well, effectively, yes. Each individual picture will be a different picture, but you're not. That's kind of not what I'm talking about. You can analyze the effects and see which ones come out. You know, that of course incorporates also the weather, the temperature. These are all factors that your small sample size in which you're declaring that the anomalies, what is considered anomalous, which is why we're able to identify them, is because that's not normal.
No, that is the norm.
No, you can't claim that's the norm because you don't have enough data.
I go out on a consistent basis as often as I can, whether or not it matches your desire to have it 365 on the same time.
That's proper. That's the proper way of doing it, though.
Yeah,
you're grabbing a few photos.
I don't have that luxury, right? I don't have
yes,
that
you
luxury.
do.
So
don't even. I'm sorry.
Who's done that on either side, by the way? Because you're setting a standard that's not reasonable for anybody.
That's not an unreasonable thing to say, hey, go outside at the same time. If you're able to do it 1 day, 10 days, 15 days.
You're right, Chris. None of us have done that every single day. But
right, it's unreasonable.
Yeah, but you're right. But at the same time, you're asking that of us. You're asking that kind of precision.
No, who's asking that? No, who's asking
that? No, that's a complete straw man.
Yeah, you're straw manning. You're setting up a scenario that's not true.
Am I? If you're saying,
who's made that claim?
Who's made that claim?
Well, if you're saying,
if I just put something in real quick.
Sure, go ahead, Bob.
I've got a photograph here that I'm sharing with you of Chicago across Lake Michigan. You can see that, right?
Yes.
Now, can you see this every single day? If the answer is no, then that is not the norm. What you see every day is
not true. That's a false statement.
That's not a false statement.
Yeah, it is.
How?
It's an incorrect analysis of the situation.
Hold on, he's saying he's giving you. Hold on, he's giving you an example that happens sometimes, but not always. And
Right,
you're
and why
giving
is it
us an
sometimes but
example.
not always?
Well, yeah, you're giving us an example of sometimes, not always.
My
And we're saying the
universal
same thing.
statement is no, but my universal statement is every day it's going to be different. That's what's uniform. That's what's consistent.
Well, but that's only just saying like stuff will be.
Okay, you
different,
understand
like-
every day is going to be different. You can get a statistical analysis over a year to find out what the average would be and what would be expected, and then you can measure the variable from that average, right? This would be an outlier compared to the average because you normally wouldn't see this across Lake Michigan from Warren Dunes.
Yeah,
But
because
on
the
rare
atmosphere is
occasion,
blocking
in
it
the right
out.
weather conditions, you can't. So this is an outlier. That's not the norm. The norm is you can't see Chicago like that.
Right, because the atmosphere is usually blocking it out.
No.
Yes.
You're not getting
Yes.
an atmospheric effect that's causing a mirage like that.
Okay. This is where I argue from the micro to the macro.
No, you don't get to play that game because I'm
Yeah,
gonna.
it's not a
No,
game.
hey,
It's
hey,
not a
hold on.
game.
Hey, Bob, bring up that photo real quick. I want to show. I want to see something real fast. Since people are saying that you can't see it because of atmosphere and whatnot, right? Okay. To the plain truth and to Chris, do you see the clouds behind the city?
I can see the atmosphere. I don't know what depth it is.
Clouds. There are clouds visible in that photo.
Yeah,
What about 'em?
I'm driving right now, but I'm taking a cursory glance at that. What I'm telling you is, like right now, I'm looking ahead of me. I can see clouds. I don't know what the depth is. Yeah, so I see the atmosphere.
Can you make the inference that the city is before the clouds?
Well, it's not before the clouds; they're below the clouds. But due to perspective, it looks like they're in front of the clouds. Yeah.
Okay, so that also doesn't help you very much either. Now, the
Well,
claim that
certainly
you
does.
can't. No, wait. The claim that you cannot see the distance or whatever on days in which that doesn't appear, but you can see clouds that meet the horizon.
No,
If you
that's-
can stop. If you can see the clouds that look like they're meeting the horizon, you are seeing further than the city itself.
Correct. We're not making any claim that's going to disagree with you. I would agree with you. What's your
Now,
point?
you just made a claim that disagreed with me. That you wouldn't be able to see the city because
it's
the
qualified
atmosphere.
by the fact
No,
that I can see.
you made the claim that the atmosphere itself
The atmosphere,
would
not
make the
clouds.
city invisible.
right? The atmosphere.
Yes.
Okay, listen. Right, listen. Hold on. Yeah. Hold on. Okay, the atmosphere between you and the city
Nope.
will at times obscure both the city and the clouds.
But on days where it doesn't.
I'm not changing.
Now here's the whole thing.
That's irrelevant.
No, yes, it is
That's
very
not-
relevant.
No, it's not.
Yes,
no,
it
it's
is.
Not, because that's my
Can you
claim.
provide a picture of what you're talking about so we can examine that picture then?
I'm on my phone as well. But
well, then we need to talk
nonetheless,
about, because you're coming up with theoretical claims that we don't even know if they're true.
That's not a theoretical claim.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
I need to see some evidence. About
you
what you're talking about.
you can see this on the open ocean. Even some of the Plain Truth's photos show this on the open ocean.
Yes.
Okay, the clouds, due to perspective, are still further than any observation you're making close to you.
Yes.
Towards the horizon. If you can see those clouds on the horizon, we're talking like the horizon is right there and the clouds are literally right touching it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
We all know that they're not really touching it because
Correct.
that would be impossible.
Correct.
However, we are looking at something that is at a distance
not impossible.
further. Well, outside of fog and shit like that, sure. And
Okay.
elevation. Change elevation, sure. Okay, fine. But we're talking at sea level here.
I'm agreeing with everything that you're saying.
Yes, because your vision is looking at it in a straight line. So that's still further away from you than the city would be. If you're able to see the clouds to the horizon and the city isn't there, then you can't claim that the atmosphere itself is obstructing the view?
That's because you're operating with one photograph.
I'm operating with reality, and I don't know
that's
where
a
you're going.
generalized claim that has no way to verify. Look,
You
no,
yourself have made the observations.
look,
You admitted to
we
admit it.
We don't have to use the Chicago skyline. We can use my photographs where I have images that are completely obscured and blocked, and images where they're not. And I have.
And to be fair, Travis, I don't think you've done a 50-mile observation, have you?
Well, you are. He is. He actually
Can
is.
Travis
I've
answer
done
that?
20. I've done 20.
Yeah, he's done 20. He's not done 50. So that's
He's made observations of objects that are much further than what you're looking at, that you're focused on in the picture.
Well,
I thought those buildings are.
I don't understand what you just said.
Okay, you're focused on the building, right? On the buildings, on the shoreline, yada yada yada.
Okay.
The thing is, though, is there are other elements within the photos that you're not paying attention to, i.e., clouds. Something as simple as clouds. You know full well that they are above your head, and they continue going above your head off into the distance. Right?
Okay. Well, let me just say that the Chesapeake Bay has a higher elevation of topography, so that the clouds
irrelevant.
No, it's
Why don't
completely
you go ahead and
relevant.
have a look at that photo that I'm sharing right now? Maybe that might help illustrate your point.
Yeah, you can see the clouds go down, but all the way to the base of the mountain. It's a similar concept.
And the peak of the mountain are further away from the observer than the clouds that are above the peak of the mountain.
And you know what? This is an interesting point, because I also done a lot of observations and I haven't paid a lot of attention on the clouds. And yeah, it's a phenomenon that we experience every day, and I'm going to start paying a little more attention. Thank you for this, guys.
Yeah, you're photographing things that are, in some cases, 50, 60, 70 miles away in a straight line from your observation point.
Yeah,
because the angle is.
We need to change the topic unless you present a photo or video that we can analyze about what you're referring to. Otherwise, it's a claim that with no evidence.
Right, and so here I'll jump in and make the offer again that I've done with Alkay, I've done with John. I'll do it with you. You are more than welcome to join me on my channel where we open up my files and we just go through and you tell me what you're talking about, because I hear what you're saying, but I don't hear
because
the relevance.
you don't think about it. That's the problem.
Fine. No, I don't need your rhetoric anymore. I need.
It's not rhetoric.
Saying. It is
I'm
rhetoric.
thinking about it, and I disagree with what you're saying. How about that?
Yeah, but
Well,
this
Chris,
is a quick, interesting point. I'm sorry, Erebus. What Chris said, Chris, that's disingenuous, because you say once you're able to present and back up your claim and present whatever you're presenting, dude. We see this every day. We see clouds.
No, we don't.
They just touch the floor in the further spot. When they're puffy cloud days, yes, we do. Don't say no, bro. Unless your skies never have clouds, bro. Yeah, okay, but your skies always have clouds. And when you see the further point away, the clouds appear to touch the floor. Yes, they do.
I'm saying it doesn't happen. I'm saying it doesn't happen. So
okay, so you're disingenuous, Chris, because it happens.
No,
Chris,
it's not disingenuous.
Why don't you pull up the pictures that you had yesterday? Why don't you pull up the pictures you had yesterday? Those were Travis's photos. We could go over them again, the same exact ones.
Let me look at them. I don't know if any of them show clouds. And by the way, again, they're not 50 miles away. He's doing 10 and 15-mile observations max.
It's still going to have the horizon. It's still going to have. It's going to have the clouds in the background. And even if it doesn't have the clouds in the background, we can still make that determination. We could go over them while we're sitting here.
Wait, I can address this, Chris. How far? How far up are the bottoms of clouds? Straight ahead in front of you. Straight up, above your head.
Hey, can you bring that picture back up? I have a question.
No, I asked you a question, Chris.
Why aren't the clouds blocking the buildings in the first place? Shouldn't they be blocking the buildings? If the buildings are 50 miles away and it's on a curve and the clouds are going down
No, Chris.
You can actually see the horizon from 50 miles away. Is that what we're looking at?
Why are you not answering the question that you were asked?
I've been answering all of his questions. Now I have a question. Why are the clouds 50 miles away at the horizon? Is that where the horizon is? 50 miles away?
No.
So then why are the clouds behind the buildings?
That's a good
Because they're
question.
further away than Chicago are. That's his
Right,
whole point.
exactly. The clouds are further away than Chicago, 50 miles away. But why don't we see the clouds at the horizon before, if it's around a curve?
Why
I
would
thought you could visualize things and you could think geometrically, Chris. I thought you really could picture things, and I see you can't. You're just so two-dimensional being. I don't know.
That is that. Yeah, that is. You're thinking in 2 dimensions, Chris. If the clouds are above your head, yes, you are. The clouds are above your head, correct?
Yeah, and isn't the horizon?
Okay, wait. Let me finish. If you were able to put yourself on a moving platform, right, from the shoreline to the city, just say it's a boat or whatever, right? Yeah, we'll go the boat. Why not? That's easiest. If you take a boat, you go to Chicago, are the clouds still above you the whole time?
Well, hold on.
Yes or no, Chris?
Clouds in front of the buildings here. Wouldn't the clouds be touching the horizon due to perspective?
Say it one more time.
So we're basically what we're seeing here is we have to be seeing the horizon 50 miles, at least 50 miles or further away, because the clouds aren't touching the horizon until that point after the buildings.
No, you're looking at a 10.
He's confusing the perspective horizon with the curved horizon.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he thinks that
I'm not.
You're looking at a tangent.
At perspective horizon, all of those things appear to touch at infinity.
So how much further is the perspective horizon than the curved horizon? I thought they were the
infinitely.
Same world.
Infinitely. The curved horizon is elevation dependent, right? The thing where things will vanish depends on how high things are. Clouds that are higher than the water will be farther away when we see them disappear behind the horizon.
That's fun fact behind the horizon. This is 50
I got
miles
a fun fact for Chris. Do you know that clouds are very high up in the sky and you're thinking ground level?
Well, this is what Airbus
Thank you.
is making this, trying to make this argument. So.
Wait, Chris, have you ever?
Let's say you're standing on the shore. You're 2 meters tall approximately. Your horizon will be some 8 kilometers away, right? How far away will you see a 2 meter high person standing on the opposite shore?
I don't know.
16 kilometers, because your eyes will see the same horizon and you'll be able to meet each other's gaze over the horizon. Even if you discount all of refraction and just take it geometrically, right? A thing that is as high as you, the distance that you will see it to will be twice as far as the distance to the horizon. The distance to the horizon isn't the point where everything disappears. It is the point where things start disappearing behind the curve. Anything that's elevated will be sticking out at the same rate as the ground that you see ahead of you diminishing towards the horizon. Does that make sense? Do you understand what I'm saying?
I mean, kind of, but how do we know how far away something is before the clouds are in front or behind that something?
Because you look at the clouds to see if they're in front or behind it. For example, there are clouds obscuring this.
Right. So we're seeing the clouds 50 miles away.
Are you seeing clouds between you and this building right here, or that one?
No.
Then the clouds are not between you and the object. The clouds are behind it. Okay?
Travis,
how far away is the horizon here? Do you think it's 50 miles?
I've been posting in the Globe participants, and Jose, I've been putting pictures in if you guys want to pull those up.
Yeah, I cannot. I'm on my phone now. I turned off my laptop. That's why. I'm just here just in case somebody want to join. I can let them in.
Hey, Chris.
Answer the question, please. Where is this horizon in relationship to the building? How far away is this horizon?
Well, in your world, it's not that far away.
Okay. Well, in the real world, it's out in Lake Michigan between us and Chicago. Now, can we see the buildings of Chicago beyond the horizon because they are tall? Yes, we can. Can we see Navy Pier? No, we cannot. How high on these buildings are we seeing? How many feet above street level on these buildings are hidden before we start seeing the tops of them?
I don't know.
800 feet plus. All right. So, if you're going to analyze photographs, you need to at least figure out what
we're not talking about that, right?
How high your target is, get an estimate for the refraction, find out on this building right here, the Willis Tower, how much of it is visible. Well, we can find that out by looking at a photograph of the Willis Tower and measuring it. You got to do the work if you want to try and pretend you're doing science, okay?
So how tall are those buildings? Are you saying all those buildings should be seen 800 feet below the curve?
This one right here, 1,450 feet up to the antenna.
1,450?
Yes, that's 1,400.
What about the one next to it, to the left or to the right?
And you can also find out very precisely where that ledge is. And then
so
you can
what are the ones to the left or right of it?
Right here to find out how many feet that represents. And you can identify spots on the buildings. Then you can start looking at these other buildings, identify them, finding out how
like that building right there, you got your horizon.
And you can get a very accurate measurement of what you're looking at. So when you do the photo analysis, you get these answers that you're looking for.
Yeah, but we can't. So let me ask you.
Well, you can't see that.
Bob, you got to stop talking.
So the Earth is flat. Let
me ask you a question, Bob. You got to stop talking for half a second, okay? How tall is the building?
I'll stop talking when I'm
to the right
and done teaching you something.
No,
now,
Bob.
I'm about to teach you something.
You are. Yeah. Go ahead, Chris.
Bob, how tall is the building to the left or to the right of it? Of the 1450 tower, how tall is the building to the left or to the right?
These guys right here? Right here?
Yes.
And right here?
Yes.
I don't know. You can easily find it.
But why don't you know? We're analyzing the photo, don't you know? Aren't they supposed
to I'm identifying
at least 800 feet
right here, and I believe I also
have those buildings,
that one because they're very easy to measure.
Okay,
Chris, what does he have to?
Every single building in there, I can easily identify several of them, and
so I guarantee 100% that half of or more of those buildings shouldn't be seen at all due to 800 feet of supposed curvature. So why do we see them?
The buildings you're looking at are greater than 800 feet high.
No, they're not.
Is that
Chris?
Well, that's not 1450.
You're moving the
1450 is what he's saying.
Their height above sea level, and then come back and talk to us about it.
This is disingenuous, Chris. I have to keep talking even though if you talk, I need 1 minute. This is so disingenuous. I've seen tricks people say, can you analyze this video? And then I'm going to ask you a few questions. And you see this lady sitting down and she pulled a deck of cards and she showed you 3 cards and she moved the cards around. And then she do a little magic trick. And then at the end, they ask you, what's the color of the lady's shirt? How old is she? Is she wearing glasses? Does she have freckles? How many people walk in the background? Dude, I mean, these are details that are that you're trying to move the goalpost somewhere that you're not seeing the big picture. Maybe the video they were trying to show you the card movement. I'm gonna ask if she had a fly flying over her head. Probably you caught it, probably you didn't. Why do you have to know all these details to get a gotcha moment? Is that what you're trying to get, Chris?
No, Bob asked me a question about the height and all that in the distances, and then he said, oh, you should know those things before you analyze photos. So I simply asked him about some other heights, and he said he didn't know. So just showing how
every single building on there, I need to have a representative sample and actually be able to analyze it based on that sample. That's fine. And I gave you my numbers. If you want to see the video, go look at the video. I analyzed it thoroughly.
Yeah,
he told you that he could identify 3 of the buildings there. That he didn't say all of them. He said he could identify 3 of the buildings and probably give you the heights on all of them.
Yeah.
Now,
okay, so here
that's pretty good information, Chris. That's pretty good information. And you told him, he told you the height of one of the buildings, and you confused that with 800 feet. When the height of the building is 1450.
No, I didn't. he said there should be 800 feet missing. So I was asking.
You said
there was. What's your point?
So I'm asking, how tall are some of the other buildings? Are those every building on that skyline? They're at least 800 feet because you can see all the buildings.
Show me a building on that skyline that's 500 feet high. Identify a 500-foot tall building.
That's what I was asking you.
Skyline. When you do that, come back.
That's what I was asking you.
No, we don't have to do this dance. We don't have to do this dance, Chris. Hold on real quick. We don't have to do this dance, guys, because we have the same observation in both worlds. The same observation. That's not the issue. What we can see and what we can identify in the picture is irrelevant.
Exactly. Don't you think Chris is dancing around to avoid to answer a straight question, the plain truth?
I'm not going to put words into Chris's mouth. He's responding the way he's
responding. But from your point of view, that's the way I see it. I see Chris dancing around not to answer some very simple questions. That's the way I see it.
Jose, that's rich, considering... Jose, that's hilarious considering you go on Nathan's and you troll hard. You talk about, oh yeah, I can't believe this is, I still think this about flat earth is correct and this and that. You just did it yesterday and a couple days ago. So please don't say I'm
yeah, I will never ever go on Nathan because quantum eraser is a piece of shit and they shut people down. That's why. It's a worthless channel. I wanted to give him a chance. Nathan Oakley show quantum eraser, they are just pieces of shit. They're not worth of my time in there. You know, I'm too much for them. So yeah, I stepped out. Never again.
Listen, somebody jump on the chat in Skype and pull up my pictures and talk about maybe what you are thinking in terms of, because again, I hear what you're saying, but and I'm not stupid, I fail to see still the relevance of the point that you're trying to make. So I sent you numerous pictures of different images with clouds, no clouds, hazy sky, whatever.
So how about Chris answering some questions about the pictures, about the clouds, Chris, without avoiding and trying to obfuscate and move the goalposts?
I already answered. I don't agree with what the person is saying unless he provides some evidence to the contrary.
So, Chris, you can't comprehend that the clouds are several thousand feet above your head and
that's not what we're talking about.
And are actually parallel with the ground.
Yeah, that's not the issue at hand. The issue is, when should the clouds be touching the quote unquote horizon due to perspective? That's the issue. I don't believe
at infinity.
The horizon that you will see that they disappear behind will be probably about 5 or 6 kilometers from you if you are an average height person standing by, say standing on the beach looking out over the sea. However, the clouds that are disappearing behind the horizon are more likely to be 50 to 200 kilometers away, depending on how high they are.
Not only that, but the horizon on the next day isn't going to be in the same place that it was the day before.
Why ever not?
That's correct, because of refraction.
Yes, I agree with Travis.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I actually think the clouds is quite an interesting thing, because surely as those clouds merge towards the horizon, shouldn't the atmosphere block them out according to the model we've heard from the Plain Truth? I'm not sure what Chris's model is.
Shout out to Nathan Thompson. Shout out to Nathan Thompson. Boom. Good looking out, Nathan. Yeah.
You need to get on Nathan's program, my man.
Shout out to Nathan Thompson. Yeah. There you go. I just sharing my rib cage. Yeah, my 8-pack, my 1-pack. Thank you very much. All right, you're looking out.
Can I just say you're always going to get some kind of refractive effect. It's always going to be there, but you're going to get absolutely minimal refraction over a distance of for an average observer height, with the horizon being 3.5 miles, 5 kilometers. It's going to be the same day after day with very, very little difference.
Okay, that's.
I mean, actually, an interesting question. An interesting question is how far away can you see the Burj Al Khalifa?
I posted a link to a picture of clouds. If anybody wants, and it also linked how it is a curved tunnel to give an idea of what it would, what we're looking at, more or less, when we see clouds on the horizon.
Are the pictures that I posted not sufficient to address this at all?
What do they show?
Are you a part of the YouTube participants in the Skype?
Yeah, I see your pics, but like, what do you think they show? Like, you tell me in your own words.
No. Okay, listen. I'm not making a claim. I'm being told that the horizon and clouds are some sort of important variable, and so I'm simply giving you.
No, you are making a claim.
Okay, stop.
The claim you're making. The claim you are making.
Stop.
The claim you are making is the fact that atmosphere will obscure objects at distance.
Okay, stop. That's
that is the claim you are making.
All right, plain truth. I haven't even got there yet. I'm just trying to figure out what you're showing me.
I'm showing you different images that I'm asking you to run through the grid of whoever's bringing up the cloud issue. That's all.
I don't know who runs the cloud issue grid.
I did, but I don't. I'm not in the thing.
I just want to know what these are supposed to show
so.
me. What? I just want to know what these are supposed to show me. That's not that hard to tell me.
When you look at the pictures, what they're supposed to show you is what you see. Since you're the one that didn't make the claim, I don't think that I'm going to hold you to explain the dynamic of the photographs. My point in supplying the photographs was to give Erebus different scenarios where you have
Travis.
objects at a distance, you have sun. Yeah.
I'm unable to see what you're talking about because I'm not a part of that group.
Someone a few minutes ago, if anybody's in the group and they can present the pictures, that would be a way that you could look at them. But that's all.
We're not in the group.
Supposing
so we can't see
supposing that we could see them, what would we see?
You're asking me what my pictures are?
Yeah.
Aren't you there?
I'm saying for people who can't see them, like what would they see?
Well, I'm driving
like the
right
entire
now, so
audience.
I'm driving right now, so I'm not going to look through what I.
That's fine. That's fine. You can
why don't you
explain
tell
them.
us?
You can explain what you're trying to show.
Okay, listen. I'm going to say it one more time. I am not trying to show anything. I was told that I'm not taking into account clouds. And so then I simply provided a scattering of images for that person to assess and try to give more tangibility to the point that Erebus was trying to make.
Can someone pull up the pictures? I want to see
You can see clouds. It's that you can understand that the clouds are behind the city of Chicago.
That's okay. That is
That's what we're getting at. Yes.
That's completely inane.
No, it's not. That's the whole point.
No, okay.
It's relevant. It's relevant to the. Yes, it is. It's relevant to the claim that the reasoning behind the invisibility of the city is due to the atmosphere being in the way. However, if that were true, then you would not ever see clouds past a certain point.
Okay.
Before the point at which the city sometimes appears.
Okay, the proof of this pudding, then, Erebus, would be to have a photograph where you don't have clouds or the cityscape at all. And that disproves your claim because it's the atmosphere at every single point.
How How would a photograph
That doesn't
had
work that
nothing
way.
in it help us?
Well, Chief, there's a photograph through over 123 miles of atmosphere,
You
and it's
don't
quite
need to
clear.
go
Would you
that
not
far.
agree?
You don't need to go that far. I can demonstrate
Yes,
this
because that's the
phenomenon.
claim.
No, I
All
can
right, that's twice the
demonstrate.
distance to Chicago, and you can see that mountain quite clearly, can't
That's
you?
because the atmosphere that day was absolutely pristine. Great, that's
All right,
awesome.
and where is the horizon
Okay,
on that photograph?
I'm not looking at that image, but I'll say this again. The horizon, just like on 365 days, the horizon is going to be different every single day.
Okay,
Well, no, the horizon would be different based on your elevation above the surface. Now, whether or not you can clearly make it out may have something to do with weather conditions, but the horizon will be in the same spot.
No.
Now, is that horizon between you and the mountain,
horizon.
or where is it?
There is no horizon. It doesn't exist. It's a reference
Yeah,
point.
actually it does. You're looking at
Okay,
one right there.
Now, that's a reference point of a linear differentiation between the terra firma
no way
and
salad. That's called a horizon.
Okay.
And it's below your eye level. And it's between you and that mountain. And by the way, how much of that mountain do you see?
I don't really give a flying fig, by the way, how much of that mountain I can see, Bob. My point is
That's right, because it destroys your entire fantasy.
No, it does not, Bob. No, it does
All right,
not.
on a flat Earth, how much of that mountain will you see?
Bob, I don't give a flying fig. I'm not making predictions about what and how much I can see.
That's because you cannot. Thank you very much for clearing that up.
No, that is not. You cannot draw that conclusion by simply making a declaration.
I'm not making a declaration. I actually measured this.
Yeah, you just
called
made a declaration.
analysis. You should try it sometime.
No, I shouldn't try it sometime, Bob. I don't need your condescending, smarmy.
Correct. You don't, because you've got a narrative that you've got to promote.
Okay.
And
yeah.
facts
Why don't
like
you
this
prove it?
destroy it, and therefore you have to hand wave them off.
No, I'm
The
not.
problem is that Travis will never measure anything.
Have you ever measured the horizon to the horizontal, Travis? How would you measure the horizon to the horizontal? Tell me that.
Bob, I am not in a position that requires me to do so. I don't need to do it.
Okay, so then you will accept the fact that the horizon drops from the horizontal because we have measured it then, and you have not, right?
Okay, when you say the horizon drops from the horizontal, what does that mean?
That means that if you sit down and run a plumb bob to your feet and draw a line 90 degrees from that straight ahead, the horizon will drop below that line.
Do you know why?
Yes, because the Earth is a sphere. Do you?
No, because the atmosphere is distorting what you're seeing. That's why. Okay, look. So here's my point, Bob.
So, Chris,
go out
and your evidence
listen,
for that?
listen, please, everyone.
Have you measured it?
Please,
have you measured that?
Please listen.
Have you measured? Tell me how much
measured
the atmosphere will drop it, Travis. Tell me your measurement.
I'm not going to place myself in this false dilemma. Okay, it's a false dilemma.
A
Listen to what
false
I'm gonna
dilemma.
say.
No, it's called a test, and you're
Listen.
failing it so far.
Okay, Bob.
Why don't you give me the drop to the horizon?
Bob, your will to power will not work on me. Okay, you're willing to power with your imposing these statements is not.
I've measured it.
Okay,
I don't
give
need
a
to make
shit.
a
Listen
statement
to
or
what
a
I'm
claim.
saying.
I've actually measured it.
Listen
So
to
have
what I'm
many
saying.
others.
I'm going to make a prediction, Bob. Go out for 7 days, and you're going to get 7 different measurements, Bob.
With very minor variations due to atmospheric,
Okay, make
but it's
any
all going to be about the
qualification.
same
Make
thing. Yes.
any qualification you want, Bob. You're going to get 7 different horizons, Bob.
And then what we're going to do is we're going to analyze those over time and multiple measurements to come up with an average and find
Do
out a
that. Yeah,
statistical
awesome.
variation of it.
Get your mathematical averages that are just going to be an abstract concept that will not.
That's not an abstract concept. Don't
Yes,
try
it
that.
is.
No, it isn't.
Okay, listen. Okay, here
Yeah,
we go.
I mean, you don't understand what statistics even do,
Here we
do
go.
you?
Let me
Sorry,
finish
Travis,
this real
but
quick. Here we go. You
statistics
ready?
actually works.
Hold on.
Travis, we're going to go with your example of taking pictures.
Yeah.
That isn't. Do you consider a picture abstract?
Well, yeah, to a certain extent, sure.
You know what I'm fucking talking about, dude.
I'm going to get some coffee while he dances because
I'm not dancing around anything. It's abstract.
Not,
it's not, it's
wait,
not tangible.
no.
It's not
Hold
a
on.
thing.
I'm not done. You have, say you take those 360, it would actually be far more than that. But let's say you have the 365 pictures, photos, right?
Yeah.
That you've taken
Yeah.
from the exact same spot, not a millimeter out in any direction, with the camera pointed in the exact same position. Because I'm going to tell you right now, you have a habit of not doing that. Making sure that.
You know what? Hold on.
No, let me finish.
No, that's a false
Let me
dilemma
finish.
because I'm
No,
not
it's not.
based-
It's
I'm
not a dilemma.
making-
It's not a dilemma. Let me finish. That's not how that works. Let me finish. You have 365 photos. You can, on visual analysis alone, find all the photos that look virtually the exact same and find out the ones that don't. That is all you're doing. No, it isn't. It's very irrelevant. It's very relevant because you've made the claim that the anomalies are the norm.
Correct.
That is not how that works.
Yes, it is. Then you have to change
No.
it. And then you have to adjust the paradigm that you're looking at. Listen up. Okay, hold on.
That's not how that works, dude.
Okay, listen. If you go through 365 measurements of your plumb bob horizon thing, and you come up with your ratio, and you narrow it down to say, like I don't even know because I'm not into statistics. But
it's not a ratio. Ratios are not to do with statistics.
Okay, whatever.
It would be deviation from the mean. Is what
okay. You don't have a standard, right? So you can't tell me that on September 17th next
do you
year.
think?
Okay, hold
do
on,
you
please.
think?
Hold on, please.
No,
Just hold on.
You're gonna sit there. You're trying to undo science.
No. I'm trying to tell you that
there's
an aspect. Okay, will you please stop talking? I'm trying to say that there's an aspect of your science that needs to be adjusted because of the observations that people like me are making.
No,
you're not making valid observations.
Yes, I am making.
You're not taking measurements, and because you're not taking measurements, there's nothing to quantify. If there's nothing to quantify, you can't measure it against what we're actually observing.
Me to a standard.
That's a standard. Yes, because it's standard.
You are holding everyone else to this.
No, I'm introducing you to an additional thing that we have to take into consideration.
You've observed a phenomena. You have no data that actually allows you to establish what that phenomena basically is.
No, it depends on what it is I'm trying to establish. And all I'm trying to establish is the atmosphere will never allow me to see the same object in the same way. It will not.
That's called a margin of error.
I don't care what it's called. It's the point.
That is what it is. That's what you're saying. It's like saying every product on an assembly line isn't the same. There's another thing. Okay, it's a similar fashion. If you have a product on the assembly line, right? Each and every one of those will have. That's an analogy because it goes because it's a truth.
Let's go to it. Let's.
Too bad I'm doing it anyway. You have something that is reproduced. No, yeah. Now you're having something reproduced over and over and over again, but there will be a difference, a small, tiny little difference between each and every one of the products due to the manufacturing process itself. Changes the molds or whatever have you. Now, the thing is if something fucks up and it's all out of whack and all bent out of shape when it comes out, but everything else afterwards comes out the same as the one previous to that, then that odd man out is the anomaly, not the norm.
Then what? Okay, what I'm
you're trying to say that you're trying to redefine what the norm is. You're trying to say the anomaly is the norm, and you've already admitted to this.
Yeah, this is what you have to take into consideration with your model. You have to bring this in. It's like
exceptions do not make the rule.
They are a variable that you have to then eliminate so that you have your standard. You're not taking.
If you really want to show that, what you have to do is take loads and loads of pictures and demonstrate that there is a higher deviation than what has been accepted. And you haven't done that.
Okay, you can't say you haven't done that. How about you say Travis, we realize that you have devoted a lot of time to this. And we also realize that the only way someone could devote the amount of time is that they get funding.
No. You don't need funding to get up in the morning and take a picture.
Travis, you don't have to. Hold on, Travis. You don't need extra money to go out and do it. You could do it with a cell phone. If you're taking the same picture, hold on, let me finish.
What happens
You
if
should
I?
take
What
it.
happens
Hold
if I get
on,
sick
let me
a couple of
finish.
days? What happens
Let
if I
me
get sick a
finish.
couple days?
You are talking over me, and it's kind of rude. Now let me finish. You could do the same thing with a cell phone in the same exact spot, using the same exact tripod.
That's got nothing to do, Sean.
And
that has
everything.
Nothing to do with
Hold on, you aren't even letting me finish. You don't even know what I'm saying.
Well, you started out with a false premise.
No, I did not. How is using the same exact analogy that you were using a false premise?
You're not using the same analogy. I'm telling you, in order for me to get out on this at the same time every single day, my structure and life has to allow for that. And that's just not a possibility. It's just
So
you want to change the entire paradigm.
That is a you problem. That is not anybody else's problem. That is a you problem.
No, that's a life problem, Sean. That's a life problem.
Life happens. You're right.
So wait.
That is a you problem.
Right.
You could easily do whatever you want. You could quit your job. You could do whatever you want. That is a you problem. But this could be done by anybody. This could be done by anybody. And that's what I'm saying.
Okay,
all this
Sean,
could be set up. You could have the same exact observation.
Did you just say I could quit my job?
Yeah, go ahead.
How would I survive, Sean? Where would my rent come from? Where would my food come from, Sean?
Well, that's not my problem. The problem is that you are making the analogy and crying about the fact that you don't have enough time.
I'm not crying. I'm pulling you up short.
Yes, you are. You are.
Not.
Okay, so if you get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and you go out, do you see the sun?
No, not every day.
Not every day? Why not?
At 5 o'clock in the morning, the sun doesn't always rise at 5 o'clock in the morning, Sean.
Oh, so you can't adjust your time to see the sunrise every morning?
Are you telling me that in your life, every single day...
No, he's asking you. No. Don't play that game. He asked you a direct question.
Guys, okay,
I asked you a question.
It's a false dilemma.
Can you watch the sunrise every morning? Can you do it?
Not if an extempore,
not
if an unplanned event comes up.
Okay.
No.
So you can. That's what you can do. And
wait,
yes,
are you saying that
if you have 1 or 2 days where you can't do it, that can be accounted for. But you can do it every day. And you can't sit here and start making these claims that you can't do this, because that is false.
No,
now,
it's not.
You also can't expect anybody to change their paradigm before you've presented evidence, and you haven't.
No,
and whether or not you can is a totally different question.
I have provided evidence.
No,
you've provided
presented
anecdotes.
Pictures. What you provided are pictures.
I have photographs.
Those are anecdotes.
Pictures. You have pictures. You don't have any data stating the height camera.
Unless you're there with me.
You don't have any data stating that this is the level that you are using. You have no data to back it up, other than the fact that this is the time that I took this picture.
Right. Yeah.
It's the same way as I said you should be taking those pictures in pairs, one without zoom, one with zoom, to show the panoramic view of where you are, and then you zoomed in. And you said, "Oh, that was a stupid idea."
Irrelevant. That's completely irrelevant.
It's a way of establishing your position as a part of categorical observation, because, as you state, we are not there.
Okay, so how many zooms do I have to take? 2, 5, 10? How far do I have to
3.
zoom out? Why?
Minimum 3.
Why can you not just look at the one picture that I gave you?
You can't just say, why can't you? Why can't you?
You're telling me that I have to measure up to your standard of
because
giving you 3.
that's the minimum. We're giving you the minimum.
Says who?
You're going off of you're trying to use anecdotal moments spur not even anything enough data to sit there and go, okay, that's enough data. That's not enough data.
Okay, you aren't answering my question. Who says 3 is the minimal amount?
Well, if you can't use 2 because that's not a comparison. The third gives you a third. Think about it.
Statistics say it.
No,
you got to have more than one, and you have to have more than 2.
No, who says I have to have more than one? If I take one picture and we talk about that one picture, that's all I have to show you.
But you don't. Yeah, there's nothing to compare that one picture to.
Except for the fact that the next day I went out and took another picture.
You're not giving a comparison of the moment in time that that picture was taken. You're just taking a picture and deciding that later on you'll take another picture and try to use that as comparison, but you can't do that.
Yes, I can.
But you can't do that and expect to change anybody's mind.
And that would be a false dilemma.
How?
I don't.
Well, it's a false either way.
Picture, but he can't draw any conclusions from one picture.
Excuse me?
I don't have a problem with you looking at a single picture, but you can't draw any conclusions from it.
My question to you is, this morning when I went out and I took a shot of the red roof Airbnb, and
Why didn't you take more than one at different zooms?
For myself, I know why. For you, yes.
Tell us why. Don't give a for you or whatever. Don't quantify it. Just give a reason why you didn't.
Okay, listen to me. Hold on. Because I was in the middle of saying something. When I went out this morning and I went into the full optical zoom, which is 428 millimeters, okay? That's when the optical zoom stops, 428, right? I said to myself, okay, Travis, back up a little bit because those guys said you need to give them a wide angle shot, so back out, click, okay? So, I mean, to me, all you're going to do is you have a smaller image of what I took at 428. You're going to have the same image if you get a magnifying glass and then look at it, and
perfect.
You're going to get it to be the same image or the same size as the 428. Okay.
And don't you think that could eliminate some of the potential problems, and maybe it's to do with the way the zoom on the camera and everything else, that we can actually now have a comparative? I'm showing you one picture on screen, which is the big blue marble picture taken by Apollo 11. Yep, that's one picture. Yep, you weren't there to take it, step aside, someone else took it. Do you accept it?
Do I accept it as what?
That's a picture.
As being real.
Yeah, that's one picture of the Earth.
This is a red. Yeah, this is a red.
No, it's not. It's a perfect analogy.
No, it's not, because we're talking about my.
Because you don't accept it, do you?
We're talking about my images.
Yeah, and I'm talking about someone else's images. I've got as much connection.
You said, Travis, you said, isn't my picture enough? Do you deny you said that?
What's your point?
Do you deny that you said that?
What is your point?
Isn't that picture
that the
enough?
analogy is, yeah, isn't that photo enough then?
We are talking about something.
No, yes or no, dude.
No, it's not.
It's enough. It's not enough. Why isn't it enough? Why isn't? No, it's not. You're talking about two. You have a photo. We've got a photo. So why isn't it? Why is ours?
Your big blue
nope.
marble
is still the Earth. You took a picture of the Earth.
I'm not.
Did you not?
The big blue. If you want to analyze the big blue marble and make claims about it, then go ahead.
No one's claiming your photo's fake. You know that, right?
I didn't say anything about fakery. I said if you want to did. Analyze. Okay, go back and show me the sound clip where I said.
Do you think this picture is real?
I am not engaging in this red.
Of course you won't, because you know full well it's not a red herring if it's a proper analogy.
No, it's not a proper analogy. It is not.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Travis, your picture to me is somebody else's picture in the same way that the blue marble picture is somebody else's picture.
They are
to
two
you.
different claims. They're two different claims. Therefore they're not the same.
You're not. You're trying to add on context. It's not how that works.
What's the claim of the blue marble?
You don't think context
What's the claim of the blue? What's the claim of the blue marble picture? I don't understand
know.
what you meant.
I don't know. It's not my issue. I'm not even dealing with pictures from space. I'm dealing with pictures on terra firma.
Travis, you want me and the audience to take you seriously. You want me and the audience to trust your one photo. Is that right?
No, I have multiple photos that I'm asking you to consider, right? I'm asking
Do you want me
for
to
your
trust?
consideration.
You want me to trust you in that process. You want the audience to trust you in that process.
Sure. Yeah, that is. I'm setting up in the same place every single time. Yada yada.
Travis,
yada. Yeah.
I don't trust you any more than you trust that blue marble photo.
Well, great. Then move along.
That's the point. You want.
No, that's not the point.
Yes, it is, because you want someone to take you seriously.
A dynamic equivalent. No, I'm not. They are two different claims.
It doesn't matter the claim.
Yes,
you're not paying attention.
It does. You're not.
Are you photographing the Earth? Yes or no? Are you photographing the Earth? Come on, Travis. Are you photographing the Earth?
I'm not walking into your trap. I'm just not.
It's not a trap because
Yes, it is.
No.
Yes, it is. When did you stop beating your wife? Or have you stopped beating your wife or whatever?
That's not even remotely the case because no, it isn't. And it's not a loaded question either.
Yes, it is.
No.
Oh, yes, it is.
Because you are indeed photographing the Earth.
There's no reason for you to bring up the blue marble picture at all. None.
I
None
brought up the blue
whatsoever.
marble picture, and I brought it up for the reasons that I
Yes,
stated.
but he's still arguing
because it's
that
a
as
perfect analogy.
It's
of
not.
the
There's no
problem that we
reason
have
to
here.
bring up the analogy. There's no reason.
And there's
to bring
no
it up.
reason, you've given no reason for anyone to believe your photos.
And that was Apollo 17, not 11, by
Great.
the
Then
way.
get out of the discussion. Leave.
No, that's the point. You're trying to convince us that your photos are real. That is your job. When you show us those photos, you're trying to convince us that those are real.
Okay. Giving you.
And we're asking you, we're giving you the benefit of the doubt.
No. You're simply adding two more constituents to the argument.
No, it's been there the whole time.
No, instead of one.
Wait, actually, I've got
now
a perfect.
you have to,
Can I just get a word in edgeways, Travis? Because I've been really, really quiet in this whole conversation. So, you're trying to use your photos to demonstrate that the Earth is flat, correct?
No. Nope.
Yes, you are.
And what is the purpose of you presenting photos, Travis?
To demonstrate the atmospheric effects on things that we can see at proximity and distance.
Fine. Okay, we accept that. That's not a problem that I have. But when you say that there is no curvature, or you deny the fact that things are obscured by the horizon, like a fucking huge mountain, even though we can see that from a long, long way away where we can't see the buildings that are closer due to atmospheric reasons for some reason, you deny that that is the cause, that the fact that the curve of the Earth is obstructing a portion of that mountain. You're trying to claim that it's purely down to atmospherics, aren't you?
I'm saying that the only thing that I can look at and test and see as a variable is the atmosphere. I cannot do that with
So you're not making any claims about curvature?
I don't have a reason to incorporate curvature.
Fine, you've taken some very pretty pictures. They don't invalidate curvature. I accept your premise.
Great, move along.
I'd like to talk about
dismissal.
atmospheric effects just a little bit with Travis. So imagine I'm looking out across an ocean that's flat, and there's a small puffy white cloud every 50 miles. At some point, I would no longer be able to see that cloud. I would no longer be able to see the next cloud, right? At some point in the distance. Right, because the atmosphere is just obscuring everything, right?
I don't know because I'm not there, so this is just a thought experiment. So yeah, sure.
Yes, yep. And if there was a building directly underneath that cloud, I wouldn't really be able to make that out either, right?
It's possible, sure, depending on the
Okay,
sure,
and
depending on the distance.
so
and the size
if
of
there
the
was a
building, sure.
line of buildings, they wouldn't suddenly become clearly visible. They would instead kind of
fade into the background,
become less and less hazy as the buildings got closer. Right? There wouldn't suddenly be a building that I could see the windows out of. First, I'd see the silhouette, and then I'd maybe see some features of the outside of the building, and then eventually I'd be able to see windows and other details. Do you agree? It's not a trap. You still there?
He might be doing something. He's driving, so he is actually working, to be fair. And the other thing as well, just to say to Sean, is we don't know if his shift works or not. So actually, it does make sometimes doing regular things difficult, because I've done shift work when I was young. So I will kind of say that it's not always easy. But then again, I'm lucky because I've got 2 items in the British Museum and about 6 in the Wiltshire, in the one of the main Wiltshire museums and devices. So that's what I do, but I didn't get funded for that. That was just
sorry. My dispatcher called. I had to take that call. I apologize.
No. That's okay. What I was actually saying to everybody, that you might be working and doing something, and you're not being a dick.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're looking at
that's fine.
Clouds and a skyline with buildings. Okay.
Yep. So the buildings would. So the buildings would as the buildings got closer, we'd be able to see more details. First, we'd just see the silhouette, and then we'd be able to pick out maybe windows or the shape of the building. And as we're looking at buildings that are closer and closer, we'd see more and more details, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And that distance that we could see would change throughout the day and would change from season to season. And the distance that we could actually see would change dramatically, right?
Yes.
Wouldn't the same thing happen with the water? In other words, if the water's flat and the atmosphere is obscuring what I can see, wouldn't the water just always kind of go from haze to a little bit less hazy and then suddenly visible? There wouldn't ever be a sharp line of water that I could see if I'm looking over a body of water.
Yeah, I actually think I either wrote that down or posted that somewhere, but I made that exact point, and I do have images where I've shown this. Yeah. Okay. So go ahead.
Yep. But in most of the pictures that you look at, including the one of the Chicago skyline today, there's a sharp line where the water just appears to just end, and then the city skyline is behind it.
Yeah.
So where's the water?
Okay.
Where's the water right next to the Chicago side?
Right. No, that's I've made these statements in my videos, and I've said in my videos, the only way you can know where that line is that you're seeing is if you have someone in a boat and you say, Johnny, stop right there, and then you get an approximation.
Well, I know in that picture that we looked at earlier, I know that it's somewhere in Lake Michigan because that's the only water between the photographer and the Chicago buildings.
That. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So why can't? So why is there a sharp line at all? Wouldn't we just see water and then the atmosphere is obscuring the water?
Yeah.
Why isn't the atmosphere obscuring the buildings in Chicago? The buildings in Chicago are further away than the water.
Look, I can't adequately deal with this because I'm not looking at the image, but I'm telling you, I have hundreds of pictures.
Okay, wait, hold on.
Hold on.
Go
ahead.
We know that the Chicago buildings are further away than the water. And we can see the Chicago buildings. Okay, I'm just explaining what the picture. You said you can't look at the picture, but I'm explaining it to you. I'm describing it to you. You can see the buildings.
Yeah.
So you know that the atmosphere is not obscuring things at that distance.
No,
the atmosphere might be obscuring things further than that distance.
No, it's obscuring
the atmosphere
everything. Okay, it's distorting.
But
it's distorting everything.
Okay, hold on. Yes. Okay. but it's not obscuring things at the distance that Chicago was. It's not obscuring things enough that we can't see details.
Okay.
Okay, because we can see each individual building. Further away, it might be that we can't pick out anything because of the atmosphere. But closer to us than Chicago, it's not obscuring anything because we can see the buildings. So the atmosphere is not obscuring the water. And we know that because we can see things beyond, we can see things further away than the water.
No, I don't believe.
Yes, you can see things further away than the water. You can see Chicago's building.
Okay.
Lake Michigan is not on the other side of Chicago from Michigan.
Okay, listen, hold on. If the only thing that can be happening right now is that we're talking past each other, and I'm okay with that to a certain extent. Okay, so you're saying that there is a sharp line on the horizon of the water. We'll just call it that, right? The horizontal line of the water is sharp, correct? I would suggest, because of my experience with what I have observed, that's because the horizon is being presented to you in proximity so that it's closer to you. Therefore, it has less atmosphere to distort it.
Go back to my cloud and building thought experiment, and there would not be a sharp line.
I'm not going to say that what you're saying is incorrect. I'm saying where I'm at right now, I am not able to wrap my mind around what you're explaining. Again, if you want to have a hangout, I am more than happy. We can schedule a hangout and we can talk through stuff so that I can understand what you're saying.
Well, so when I asked you why there's a sharp line in between the photographer and the Chicago buildings, you said the atmosphere is obscuring the rest of the water. Okay, but then those buildings would also be obscured and we wouldn't be able to see them. But in the photograph, you can see the buildings.
No,
that's what you said. You said the atmosphere is obscuring the water that's further away than the water that we can see.
Distorting. If you don't like the word obscuring because you think it communicates entirety, then I'm not going to make that claim. I'm saying that it distorts.
Well, what does obscure mean?
Well, that's what I'm trying to establish. I was using obscure in the sense of being distorted, but who am I talking to?
Well,
this is Joe.
Somebody else, whoever was.
Joe. Okay.
Why don't you go ahead and have a look at the image on my screen?
I know who Druss is. I know your voice, Druss, but I was trying to get Joe. Okay, Joe. So, yeah, I lost the point now.
Why don't you have a look at the image that's on
obscure, obstruct, distort.
Yeah. So, as I'm looking.
So wait. Are you looking at this picture?
No, he just wants to define what he means by obscure, to say he actually meant distortion of the image, not obscure. So things aren't hidden by the atmosphere. Then again, they're just distorted by the atmosphere. Is that
they can? They can be hidden. They can be, but that's a level of obscurity. That's a level of distortion.
Why don't you have a look at this image on my screen? You see the CN Tower?
So the buildings are not obscured by the atmosphere.
Yeah,
I mean, they're partially.
That's not true. You can't use. This is what Jose did with his lighthouse example, and he was trying to get it to be a 1-to-1. You can't use that picture that you've imposed on the needle. You can't use that and say,
"That's fine.
This is exactly what you should be."
We don't
seeing.
need.
We're not saying exactly. What we're saying that we're going to observe that, and it's going to be out by probably maybe anything up to 2.5% from the hidden figure, plus or minus. So we're using. That's why we need to work out the averages for refraction, because that gives us our baseline. We then work out our outliers, our high and our low values, and that gives us our tolerance value of what we would expect to see within refraction. Yeah, once we've done that, what we can actually then do is say that's why we know that approximately, it says approximately, even on the fucking diagram, 184 meters is obscured for that reason.
There's no way to prove that. There's no way to prove that.
What do you mean there's no way to prove that?
Hold on. Hang on, Dross. Hang on, Dross. We can't see the water on the shore on the Illinois side. You can't.
right. That's
and
because
it's not the atmosphere making that invisible, and we know that because the buildings are further away than the shore. The buildings are the buildings closer than the shore or further away than the shore?
You're asking a question that doesn't take into account the dynamic of what we're talking about. I've got all of these images, but they're not Chicago.
Hold on.
Okay, I've got images just like this, but it's not Chicago, and it's closer than 50 miles.
Okay. I believe that.
I've got one right on
that
the
I can see 39. I believe that I can see the buildings. Oh, this is not even Chicago. This is Toronto. I can see the buildings, so I know that the atmosphere doesn't totally make things invisible at that distance. Can we at least agree on that?
No, it can.
No, in this photograph, I'm not talking about all the time. I'm talking about in this particular photograph, the atmosphere is not obscuring things enough that I can't see the buildings.
That's fine.
And I know that because I can see the buildings.
I misunderstood the implication of what you said.
Don't infer anything. Just listen to what I said. I can see the buildings, so I know the atmosphere isn't obscuring them in this photograph.
Every ounce of communication has inference in it. Okay, you can't
Fine.
escape that.
Fine.
There's no way
Fine.
for me
Can
to
we
be
agree on that
100%.
point? Okay.
I
Can
already
we
gave
agree
it
on
to
that
you.
point?
I already gave it to you.
What did you say?
I said yes. I agree. In this picture,
Okay.
yada yada
Okay.
yada.
So the atmosphere is not obscuring our vision enough that we should not be able to see things between us and the building. Everything between us and the building should be visible.
No.
Why?
Okay, so if you were to have been on the shoreline when Rob Skiba got on his boat and sailed across Lake Michigan, there would have been a point at which Rob Skiba would have disappeared from your view.
I'm talking about this photograph.
My word. It's the same idea. It's the same idea. You know, you just have to think it's the connection. You know.
Stick to the photograph that's being presented so we can all see
that
it.
like bringing up the blue marble wasn't a detraction? Come on.
Travis. And it's brought up. It's on the screen in front of you. Deal with what's on the screen in front of you.
Okay, it's this. My point would be the same. There is probably a boat between you and the Chicago skyline that you can't see.
No, there's 100. Yeah, there's 114. There's 184 meters of approximate curve that we're accounting for. We can all agree with that. Go on.
Yeah. Okay. If you want to go back to that, you have to now prove curvature. This picture doesn't prove curvature.
No, Travis.
Does it disappear because of angular resolution?
There needs to be a distinction made.
It
Travis.
absolutely proves curvature.
Why is it that the boat disappears but the buildings don't?
The buildings are taller than the boat.
What does height have to do with that?
Really? Are you okay? Okay, sorry. I'm not going to be snarky.
Well, apparently, yes. I have to ask that question because you're not grasping it.
Okay, don't tell me what I'm not doing.
You're making a claim.
What I'm not doing, Bob.
You're making a claim that the height makes them visible.
Okay, listen.
How?
Okay, listen, please. Please listen. When you're talking about things moving into the distance with perspective, the higher... Hold on, please. The higher an object...
I'll go ahead and tell you right now, if you're going to do that,
Okay, I'm not able to answer the question.
No, because you're trying to use an element that I'm very familiar with, and you're going to try to say that things at the bottom somehow disappear due to perspective, and that is not how that works.
Are you Joe?
Just let him finish.
That was Erebus. Go ahead.
Okay.
You're going to sit there and do that. The thing is due to perspective, all elements on the floor rise up to meet the sky at the distance, and it doesn't matter. So you're going to have to sit there and make the claim that the boat or person or whatever in the middle distance is somehow disappearing completely, which goes against the laws of perspective.
That's a great story. That's a great story. I appreciate that.
And you're going to do that right now, aren't you?
No, since you know what I'm going to do, Erebus, I don't have to say anything. That's fantastic.
Hey, the point is, does perspective cause the stuff to be obstructed from the bottom up?
I let the snooze myself, actually.
Yeah.
It's a variable that we cannot eliminate in any observation that we make.
That's not the question. The question is it exactly the only thing that causes things to be erected from the bottom?
No.
So can that happen without perspective?
See if there's anything.
Okay, it's getting talked over. I'm not able to hear the question.
John, you got a hot mic.
Is the bottom of the CN tower gone due to perspective? That's the bottom line. Yes or no?
Not exclusively.
Why is
the
bottom
of the CN tower?
It's a variable. Listen, guys, it's like you're looking for simply an orthographic view where you just have the scale exactly representative of what you think you're seeing, and that's just not the way the world works.
So
no, we analyze the photograph. What we're seeing. We're trying to find out.
I can't hear. There's too much talking going on.
We've analyzed the photograph. We know what we are seeing. We're trying to determine whether or not you understand what you're looking at right now.
You have no clue what you're seeing, Bob. You don't know what
so far, Travis, you have not explained what's going on in this photograph.
According to you.
Well, hang on. Let me ask Travis something. No. Do you think you need to account for perspective when you're looking at an orthographic view?
Okay, hold on. I had two different people saying something, so I didn't. Why don't we just do one person? Just one person, please.
Sure. All right. So once again, do you think that you need to account for perspective when you're looking at an orthographic view of something?
Oh my God, you broke up. I'm sorry, you broke up.
He's saying, do you need to account for perspective if you're looking at it from an orthographic view? That was the question.
Well, that's a yes and no. It depends on what you're saying, but no, I would say no.
Okay. Okay. How can you say no if you don't know what I'm saying? You said it depends on what I'm saying. So
well, because it's okay. So on a knee-jerk reaction, orthographic is not looking at depth. Okay, so that's the difference. Perspective has to do with depth. Orthographic view does not.
Okay.
That's the first really good answer I've heard you give.
Okay, don't patronize me. Don't patronize me.
No. But the fact that the orthographic doesn't have to do with depth, it doesn't mean that you have to account for perspective when you're actually using geometry to figure out whether something will be obstructed by a parabola.
Why did you decide to talk with a potato today, Carlos? And John Watson, you're eating an apple? I'm gonna mute you, bro. I'm sorry. You gotta unmute when you gotta speak.
If my audio is really that bad, I'm not gonna say anything anymore. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I can't understand it. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm happy to translate for you, Carlos. I can understand you.
I can hear him just fine too.
Yeah, but you got to remember also that Travis is in a van on a mobile phone, so let's take into account some of the factors that might be affecting that. Yeah, then that's why Carlos's signal's so short.
Okay. Well, hopefully this makes it better, but
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's way better.
All right. Well, yeah, what I'm saying is that if you're looking at an orthographic view to let's say calculate how much a parabola is going to obstruct an object in the distance, all you need to use is geometry and lines in order to determine that. You don't have to account for perspective because you're looking at an orthographic view.
Okay, I don't find the relevance of that in this discussion.
Well, you're saying that perspective. It's not only perspective alone that causes things to be obstructed from the bottom up in the distance. And what I'm saying is that a perspective has nothing to do with things being obstructed from the bottom up. And you're saying that it does.
Yes, it does. I don't bring in orthographic view in my discussion because I'm not making.
How does perspective cause things to disappear from the bottom up? You stated
It's
the
not
mechanism.
Perspective exclusively. That's part of it.
Okay. Then why bring it as a variable if it's not exclusively? And if it's not exclusively, then how? You're not explaining how. Still.
Travis, will you acknowledge that is evidence of curvature, or at least suggest curvature? There could be other things, but curvature could be one of them.
Okay, when you and I are looking at one of my pictures, and let's just make it the 20
We're not
miles.
looking at one of your
Travis, we're
pictures.
not looking at your pictures.
Yeah. Say yes, Travis. Say yes, because curvature could be one explanation. Yes, please.
No, that becomes your burden to prove because I don't have a need to incorporate curvature in my interpretation.
So you think it could be one of the 80? You think it could be one of the 80 things list, but curvature cannot be added to that list as the number 81?
I don't have curvature in. Okay, look. Okay, Jose, listen. Part of my answer is going to be this. When I'm making my observation, nothing in my observation is telling me there is the variable of curvature.
Are you
I
telling
want to
me
go back to what I
could not
originally.
No, I'm dealing with Jose right now. Jose, do you want to follow up with that at all?
No. Continue with Bob. I just wanted to throw that out there. It could be curvature. The answer is yes.
I want to go back to. I want to go back to the thing that I originally talked about, which
That's
is
your answer, Jose, not mine.
Which is, if the atmosphere obscures things at a distance, we should never see a distinct horizon line over water. Instead, it should just fade into view like it does on a really foggy day.
Okay, say that one more time, please. I want to hear it again, please.
I can translate.
No. You don't need to
Thank you.
translate. I want it.
Oh, okay. So if water's flat, then instead of there being a distinct line where the water appears to end, instead it should just fade into view slowly like it does on a really foggy day, except at a greater distance.
Okay, when you say distinct, how
sharp?
Technical? Okay, when you say
a sharp line.
Yeah, sharp.
Please let me finish.
Well,
okay, go ahead.
The question's going to be the same. When you say sharp, what's that value? Can you give me that value?
That's an obfuscation.
It's not obfuscation. It's calling for clarification.
But Travis, you won't let us measure anything in your photos anyway.
Let me respond.
Please, one person at a time.
No,
let me
Travis,
respond
you'll
with
listen to me,
a question,
but then
Travis.
Joe can go. Are you not going to make any measurements?
I don't need to make any measurements. I'm not making the claims that you want me to make. I'm not dancing your dance.
So you're not making. So you're taking photographs and making no claims. So they're just pretty photographs.
I don't need to take measurements.
Why not?
Of course you don't. Can we agree that the horizon on this photograph is sharp?
I will take your word for it.
No,
oh,
you.
No.
They will never concede.
I'm driving.
Yes or no?
Come on, guys.
Guys,
I'm driving. It's going to be on my phone. I'm not going to be able to see it with the clarity that you are. Can't I just give you that? Sure.
Okay. Do you have any photographs? Travis, hang on, guys. Hang on. Travis, do you have any photographs that you've taken at any point where, over water, where the line where the water ends is sharp?
I have degrees of sharpness. Yes, I've noticed that there are degrees where I have a sharper line than at other times. Yes.
Okay. If the water was flat, how can you explain how there would ever be a sharp line?
First part of that answer is the line is not physical. Second part of that answer is the atmosphere changes the distance at which that line appears to me.
Okay, but go back to the thought experiment that I mentioned at the very beginning of when I was talking. Buildings that gradually come closer will not suddenly appear sharp. First, they'll be kind of hazy and you kind of see the details. And as they get closer, you see more and more detail. Why doesn't the water behave the same way?
It does.
Nope. You just said you have photographs where the line is sharp.
I have photographs of boats coming in closer to me, and they are blurred.
I'm talking about the water line. I'm talking about the water line.
Okay. If I'm not answering your hold on. If I'm not answering your question with clarity, then it's on me because I'm not being clear or I'm not understanding exactly what you're saying.
Can I ask you? Can I follow up on that sharp line observation? So I know you have some pictures and observations where the water line, the horizon, what we call, appears to be a sharp line. It's not only mirrored and blurred. Yes, I agree with that. You got him. Now, the question is, do you have those pictures with the sharp line and objects are missing the bottom part? I'm not talking about blur. I'm not talking about mirror. I'm not talking about hazy and unrecognizable. I'm talking about sharp pictures with a sharp line of water and the object missing the bottom part. Do you have those, Travis?
I would have to go through my files, Jose. I don't have anything that comes to mind.
Cool, because I mean I got a bunch, and I have presented them that they don't show any signs of distortion, mirroring, blurring, and they are pretty clear, solid disappearance from the bottom up. So the bottom part of the objects are missing in a bunch of my observations. Now the majority of my observations they got phenomena going on and blurring, so they're inconclusive for me. What I say, most of your pictures, if not all of them, they are inconclusive because they got this atmospheric effect. You should, when you repeat and repeat, the more clear ones where you got the sharp line and the object not distorted, that's the good ones right there.
Yeah, right. That depends on what it is you're trying to prove, Jose. So when you say it's not clear or it's not a good demonstration, it depends on what I'm trying to demonstrate.
So if you go through your pictures
hold on, real
and you
quick,
find,
please, I'm sorry, hold on, Jose, just send me a couple of those pictures just so I can see what you're talking about, please.
Yeah, I have presented them. There's some houses missing the bottom. There's the lighthouse. I can send you the lighthouse. I can send you the bridge. A bunch of stuff. Yeah, I'll send it to you later throughout the day.
Okay, but is this what we were
and
talking about?
if you go through your pictures,
I'm sorry. Is that what Mark Doxey
if you go through,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Travis. Try to. Yeah. Okay.
Is that what Mark Doxey and I looked at in that one hangout, or is this?
Yeah, some
else?
of them. Yeah, you looked at some of them. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Joe. Or...
If you go through your pictures and you find a picture where the water line is sharp and the buildings behind it are also sharp, meaning not blurred or obscured by the atmosphere, that should convince you. That should be enough to convince you that that water is not flat. Because if it was flat, false. Well, then what I would say is that you are someone who cannot be convinced that the Earth isn't flat.
No, the opposite could be said as well. That you are the opposite accusation can be said that you are someone who isn't willing to be take into consideration the photography footage that shows that the horizon moves in distance.
I have no problem. I have no problem with the distance to the horizon moving. I have no problem with that. That does not contradict.
Yes, it does. You should understand then. You should understand then that if the horizon moves.
I didn't know you were that simple-minded. I swear. I thought you.
There's refraction.
Travis, if you have a triangle with sides 5, 5, and 5, what are the internal angles?
I haven't called any names here.
I'm just asking you a question. If you have a triangle,
to you, Bob, you didn't call me a name.
Did I call you a name?
You said that you said that you can't believe I'm so simple-minded.
Right.
That wasn't Bob. That was Grim.
That's not calling you a name, is it?
Yeah, you're calling me simple-minded.
That's an adjective about how you're behaving. It's not calling you a name. Wow, bro, you're not really clued up on the English language yet, are you?
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not falling for your little name calling.
Do you need a safe space?
I had no idea you were that simple-minded.
No need to mock. No need to mock.
It's not a name.
No need to mock. Okay, no need to ad
hoc. Would you agree that you have dyscalculia?
No need to ad hoc, guys.
Would you agree that you have dyscalculia
and
cannot see the geometry that we're talking about?
I just had two people talk. I just had two people talk at the same time.
Would you agree that you have dyscalculia and cannot visualize the geometry we are talking about? That's not.
Do you agree that you have cognitive dissonance and that you are persuaded that you live on a spinning ball and so you can't make sense of simple observations?
Travis,
the
reason that I don't have any hang on.
Is there any point
the reason I don't have any problem?
Some word that I might not understand, Bob. What are you trying to do? Will to power?
I explained it to you. Do you have dyscalculia, which means you cannot visualize the geometry that we are talking about in your head?
I am pretty sure I have a pretty good grasp of being able to visualize certain things. So what is it
Okay,
that you'd like me to visualize?
Visualize geometry. Do you agree that the fact that the water goes halfway up the CN Tower proves that there is a curvature in the water between us and the CN Tower?
By no means whatsoever.
Okay, I rest my case.
But you don't have another explanation for it, Travis.
No, yes, I do. Yes, I do. Guys, look, it's like you don't know what my video footage has. Okay, will you listen to me, please?
Well,
listen to me, please. Please listen to me. I have my own version of whatever that tower is in Canada, and also the wind turbines. Okay,
Please present it or send a link. We'll look at it.
It's on my it's in my intro video. Watch my intro video. I show you.
Yeah.
Okay. What is? Yeah. Let me. Wait. Hold on.
Yeah. One quick question. Just the panel. He's in his van. He's working. He can't send links or images easily. That's not a safe thing for him to do.
What's the name
and
of the
we
channel?
don't want to be dickheads like Spurs Chemo. Point.
Well, just tell me the name of the channel. I'll search it and find it.
I'll take my chances.
Too many people are talking.
Travis, can you?
The plain truth. The plain truth. 3 words. The plain truth. And he has 1.02 thousand subscribers. The plain truth.
Why is everyone so interested in telling a horse a joke?
If you guys give me
she won't get it.
Hey, Travis, what's the 10-second explanation for why the CN Tower is hidden from a globe model perspective?
For you want me to give your answer?
Yes.
It's because the Earth is curved.
Okay. What's the 30-second explanation from your point of view?
Ether band.
I don't know what that is.
The ether band.
Did he just say ether band?
That's correct.
He did.
Ether band.
Oh my freaking God. Guys, I'm out of here.
It's not so. Please say it's not so. The 30-second explanation is the air functions as a filter that can be distorted to a greater degree and a lesser degree depending on the proximity of the object you're looking at. And when you're looking over greater distances, the air will distort, squash, stretch, block. You can't predict how it's going to act. So when you don't see something that you expect to see, the reason why it's being presented to you that way is the ether
magic.
Band. The ether band.
So is it refraction
or magic?
If it's squashed, you still can see the whole thing.
Because it sounds like you're talking about refraction.
Refraction
and varying degrees of degrees of refraction based on the distance the light is from the ground.
Without using the word.
Sure. Okay.
And we understand refraction.
Yeah, I think refraction's been studied pretty well. In the CN Tower photo, when he overlaid a close picture of it, the top part of the tower that was visible, not blocked by the water, looked the same as the close-up picture.
I'm going to say this again. This is the exact same thing that happened with Jose's picture of the water tower, and I made my comments on that video asking Jose the questions that I asked and presenting the challenge that I did. I don't believe that you can take a carbon copy picture, whatever distance you think it is, and then say, okay, and then find a way or find an image that matches up the CN. It's not the same. You're not at the same distance, and you don't have the same atmosphere.
All right, that's fine. I don't want to argue about that. So it sounds like what you're saying is that we don't know how the atmosphere is going to affect light that's coming to us.
That's correct.
So any photographic evidence is inconclusive.
I'm good with that.
I like that. Even if butter.
So we'll have to find something else. Do you have any reason to think that the atmosphere could shift things left to right without changing its shape? Really?
Oh no.
Okay.
Welcome
Well,
to welcome
next
to your
Monday,
globe portion.
So next Monday, you can look at the sunrise and take note of its location. And if it's not due east, that's evidence that we're not on a globe. And if it is due east, then it's evidence that we are on a globe.
That's your argument that you're making, and I would need a lot more of an argumentation with supporting points, but have fun with that.
It's called the globe model. It works.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it. It didn't break or anything. So, and it exists.
That's your claim.
It's not a claim. It's the model that we've been using for, I don't know, what, 2,500 years.
Still waiting to hear.
Yeah, that's my
I'm still waiting
claim.
to hear how perspective can block something.
Travis,
yeah,
you haven't presented anything to falsify the claim.
I had two people talking.
That's a good point. Can you think of a test that we can do or an observation that we can make that falsifies your claim about the ether band?
Can I think of a falsification test to disqualify my claim?
Yeah. In other words, can we do science on it? Yep.
So we did hear
you can study the. I'm not really sure. I don't think that you can falsify my claim, because my claim is simply that the atmosphere is distorting what we're seeing.
So
That's
you're saying
my
you have an
claim.
unviable claim?
Right.
So it's unfalsifiable.
Okay, that is your standard. I don't believe in your script. That's your narrative.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
You just said it was unfalsifiable yourself. No one else said that. You did.
So what? Yeah, but you guys whistled.
So
as
don't
if
turn
I said
around and
something-
say that's our claim that it's unfalsifiable. It's yours.
No. Why did you whistle?
I think the point Travis was
Changing the
trying to
subject
make
right now?
is he doesn't believe in the whole falsifiability is a good or necessary thing to have.
Is that what he means? Because I don't know what he means from him.
I think that's what he means.
Well, why don't you ask me? I'm right here.
I did. That's why he jumped in.
So
because
scientific-
you were not answering.
So science doesn't have to include falsifiability?
Or maybe the scientific method itself is just a narrative.
Yeah, I think that it is to a certain extent, right? It's like saying that there's a certain standard in being a chef or whatever. I don't believe that, like for instance, are you guys going to affirm that science doesn't prove anything?
Babe, he thinks there's not a
I do.
standard.
Not
in being a
100%.
chef.
Okay.
You guys have to say that.
I don't believe that. Okay, I don't believe that. So I don't go by your narrative.
Try being a chef, knucklehead.
You can't scientifically
go by your
prove
narrative.
anything to me. Yeah, you can't scientifically prove anything to me
Okay, great.
because science can't prove anything. I have a pretty strict definition of prove, though.
Yeah, that's the standard that you're living by. That's fine with me.
Travis,
Yeah.
can you falsify the globe model?
I believe that when we talk about observing things in the distance with what we understand about your claims of Earth curve, I
Do you
believe
think
that
that is a falsification of the globe model?
I believe that it is good reason to question the globe model. Yeah.
No, that's not what I asked.
No. Actually, it can't be, Travis. It can't be because you just said maybe 5 minutes ago that photographic evidence is inconclusive.
No, you're making a dynamic equivalence that leads to a false equivocation, in my opinion. You're giving me a false dilemma. You're making
Travis.
my statement.
No.
You're making my statement.
No, you just started
applicable
to
you.
say that photographs. You just started to say that photographs call into question the globe model, but you also said that
I didn't
photographs
say
are
no. I didn't say photographs. I said when we can make observations. I think that's what I said, but I don't remember. I wasn't memorizing.
Okay. Observations of what?
Okay.
Observe a photograph.
Okay. When we are told that the Earth curves at a
No,
certain
don't
rate.
go off with that.
Okay. Well, then have fun with yourselves.
Oh, come on
you
now.
can't set your own. You can't set your own parameters, and then you can't abide by your own parameters. Quit.
I do have one more question to Travis.
Yeah.
Yeah, Travis.
Yep.
Are the effects of perspective on an object in the distance, as far as being obstructed from the bottom up, is that scalable? So I can do a diorama and in a scale model and show that.
I think only when you apply what we talk about with orthographic views. I don't think that you can do it with observations. No, I don't believe that's possible.
Okay. My question
You can tell me mathematically, like if you know, right? If you know what the Willits Tower's dimensions are, right? You can work out the math and tell me what I should see at 50 miles, but that's not going to be ever what I actually see in real life at that particular distance.
Because of atmospheric conditions.
And perspective.
Perspective does not obscure things.
Because I agree with you. Hang on, guys. I agree with you with that statement. I agree with you on that statement because depending on the atmospheric conditions, yes, that's going to determine whether you have refraction or not. But to say that perspective itself has an effect on that, as far as being obstructed, that is wrong. I don't agree with that. And my initial question was, okay? Well, going back to my initial question, if perspective has a part on obstruction of objects in the distance from the bottom up, is it possible to scale it down to be able to see the same effect?
If I understand your question, I'm going to say no.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
I have a question. If I give you atmospheric conditions and the distance over water that I'm looking at a building and the height above sea level the height above the water level that the building is and the height of the building, can you predict how much of that building will be obscured by the water due to your ether band?
Nope.
Okay. So it's not falsifiable and it has no predictive powers.
Okay, then right, yeah, but that's not a problem in my world, right? So when you say to me, "What's your explanation?"
That's fine.
Okay.
No, that's okay.
Okay.
That's okay.
All right.
Yesterday we had Arwin emphatically stating that flat earthers are the only ones that are properly employing the scientific method. I know you're not.
Yeah, he said that every experiment they do, they do use the scientific method. I've yet to see a coherent experiment.
So you're kind of following that up. You're saying, predictive power doesn't matter, falsifiability doesn't matter, taking measurements doesn't matter. But if you want to be taken seriously, you're going to rethink all of those things, Travis.
Sorry, I had to call in. Were you guys talking to me?
No.
Nah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, my point is that I have yet to see a formula of how at what distances those perspective stars obscuring objects from the bottom up in the distance.
Right. That's what I'm saying about the standard refraction. That doesn't exist. You can't apply that. It doesn't exist. There's no standard perspective.
So it doesn't exist. A perspective does not affect the obstruction. So
no, it does. It does.
You said there's no standard perspective.
So with curvature and standard refraction, I can make predictions about how much a building is going to be obscured by the water between me and the building. But
No,
you have
can't.
no such predictive power.
No, you can't.
Well, I can, and it's always pretty
I'd love to have a real scientific discussion, but I mean, this is not scientific. This discussion is just, God.
All perspective is change of angular size, period.
Okay, there's no reason to, again, give me an ad hom by calling me a rock.
Oh, well.
Okay?
I'll be the judge of that, buddy.
Okay, buddy. Listen.
I would never call you a rock.
You're like wasting our time here, man.
Carlos, I'm not talking. Then leave.
Being obtuse,
Then leave. Carlos, do you feel like I'm being
damn
obtuse?
well the Earth's round. You're just playing right now. We can
Okay.
tell. How many
Graham,
times have you said I've
stop
never
over
seen the
talking.
curvature?
Listen, this guy, Mr. Grimm.
How many times has he seen the curvature and then
Mr.
said right
Grimm,
around the corner, I've
Mr.
never
Grimm,
seen the
I
corner.
am not going to
I've
let
never
you
seen the curvature
gaslight me. Your
before.
gaslighting is not going to work on me. Move along. Move along. Someone just said something about making predictions with Earth curve and then atmosphere, right? You said that you could predict how much of the building is going to be obscured, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
To you though, it's a waste of time, and whoever muted me can suck a dick.
Yeah, it wasn't me.
That would be me. So fuck off.
Suck a dick,
Yeah,
nigga.
And there are
Nobody give a fuck
Alan,
about what
there
you're
are things
doing,
that we know about.
Alan,
You know,
go ahead and kick him.
If
I
you
can't
consider
actually
refraction,
kick him.
I didn't know it was fucking
That
Alan.
would be
Excuse
after.
the fuck out of me. Next time, say something, Alan.
I did. I
even
told
taking
you
into
to stop
account
over talking him.
refraction, the amount of
I'm
a
over
building that
talking a
should be
horse making
obscured by
noise. Big
water is none of it.
Okay, listen, but that's like Dean. That's like Dean showing me on his program what the curve is going to do, right? And then I say to Dean, "Where's the atmosphere?" Because that is your variable that you can't control or predict. I got to check in, guys. So
Yeah, but if I can see the building, but if I can see the building, then I can see the building. And the only I'm going to use air quotes explanation you have is ether band, which is no explanation at all, because it has no predictive capability at all, or falsifiability. So you could call it Blarch band, and it would have the same weight.
Yeah, Joey's not. He's actually on a call, I think, for work at the minute. So you're not going to get a response to that, I'm afraid.
Well, I didn't really expect a response anyway.
Well, no, I know you didn't actually expect a response, but
no, I get it. If he's at work, that's a thing.
Oh, did I interrupt him again? Is that why he can't answer?
He's flat earther only part time. He's got to work. No, so I'm a globe head part time as well. You know, I'm working too.
Yeah, same here. Same here. I'll you know, when he gets back in, I do want to have a little one-on-one with him if I could.
I want to have one-on-one with you and shave that beard.
I think I'm done.
Yeah, I know. Why would you want to talk to somebody who has Down syndrome like that? Doesn't make any sense.
Don't say that. Hey.
Oh no.
Look,
Oh,
come on, man.
You know, I made a claim.
You guys are being
I
all
made a
virtuous
claim
about
earlier.
it or something.
I made a claim earlier about
the
him.
same thing, got the same bullshit out of him, and you want to do it again tomorrow.
No. Actually, this has nothing to do with it, with the conversation at hand or anything like that. I actually want to have a conversation about one of the claims I made earlier about him and his observations and things like that. That's all I want to go over.
His inconclusive ones.
Well,
yeah,
it is funny
his pictures.
Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. I was just saying, just his pictures, because they're not observations at this point.
Yes, it's funny how they say, well, photographs are not proof, yet they come up and show, look at this photograph, and of this laser going across the water, and you know, it's
funny
kind of
or
funny.
Retarded. Funny or
well,
retarded.
I don't know. I wouldn't use
listen,
retarded or
use
Down
the
syndrome.
word slow, retarded, slow. That's what it means. Not, you know, somebody, not a name, but a slow-minded person. Literally, you know, not advanced, retarded.
I think that's just people that are stubborn that don't want to listen. I don't think that has to do with intelligence or being able to retain information.
Well, not listening has a lot to do with intelligence, actually. Because how are you going to become more intelligent if you don't listen? You know?
Fair enough. Yeah, that's you have to let people talk.
And talk and talk and talk. I know.
Mr. Grimm.
Absolutely. You got it right.
Exactly,
First thing you got right all day.
Oh, great. Thank you so much for your validation.
Come on.
Thank you so much. Listen, I'm really curious. How would you like me to respond to
You're bi-curious. I don't have anything to do with your sex life, brother.
Okay. How would you like me to respond to your calling me or accusing me of being Down syndromed and retarded? I mean, like, what
I'd rather
what are
you
you
just shut up,
expecting me?
actually, since you're so dumb.
Why are
It just
you
doesn't make
here?
any sense to be in a
Why
room
are you
where
here?
I'm here to talk about actual physics. You're here to dance around and be an obtuse little bitch.
And does anybody else? Okay, that's great. Does anybody else agree with Mr. Grimm that I'm being obtuse and dancing around? Anybody else?
I think I could probably
Maybe
agree
dancing
that
a
you
little
are being obtuse, and you're most definitely dancing around the questions.
Did that not work out for you, buddy? Did you not like the poll?
No, because then I would have to say, okay, what do you mean by being obtuse, and how am I dancing? I'm not afraid of
Right,
talking
because you wouldn't
about
understand any of that without all of
Oh,
that. I understand that.
yeah.
I knew that about you.
You know, really. I mean, you're
You
like
you can't even explain a sunset.
you're the bully. You know, you're the bully on the playground that just thinks
Really?
that
I'm
he's
just
got to
fed
be.
up.
You
I'm
know,
fed up with the bully. You're the bully. I beat up bullies, homeboy.
Oh,
All right?
yeah.
You're the bully. You're
Okay,
in here
great.
fucking acting like everybody's not telling you a good example of these
And you're the
so-called phenomena. You act like no
that
one's giving you
says,
good examples
"Why
of
aren't you
this
letting me
phenomena.
eat candy all day, Daddy? I told you I wanted to eat candy all day.
Stop
And I gave
projecting,
you the
kid.
reasons why."
All right, class, settle down.
Yeah, stop projecting, kiddo. I already raised 2 of you. Back the fuck up.
Yeah, I've had 5, and if any of them turn out like you.
Well, you wouldn't know, would you? Because you're not there for it.
Yeah,
so
you wouldn't know.
fucking
Oh,
bring
and
it
I'm
down.
not there for
What
him.
is
Yeah,
this?
that's awesome.
Jerry.
You wouldn't know, would you?
I wouldn't know.
Enough.
This Jerry Springer.
I had 5, and I hope they don't turn out. I hope they didn't turn out like. Well, if you don't know, then don't fucking act like you do.
Don't fucking act like you do.
Right.
Right.
Now, can I have that one-on-one real quick?
Yeah, go on, Sean.
Okay, Travis. Earlier, I made some comments about your dedication to everything and about your work. Concerning your work, and I didn't take into account that you could be on shift work or something like that. But the fact of the matter is that if you're passionate about something, you're going to find a way to do it. That's what I was stating. That was my issue.
I don't disagree with that, Sean, but the world isn't perfect. There's no way to have that kind of a world. I get out and shoot when I can, and for me, making those kinds of observations with all those different variables, getting out at 9 o'clock or 2 o'clock or even 7 o'clock. Like I had an amazing shot the other night that I had never gotten before, where the channel markers in the Chesapeake Bay, I've got all of these channel markers that are close to me. And the other night, I was finally able to get across the bay at 9 miles, and I've got this tiny, tiny little blip of light of a channel marker all the way across 9 miles. And I was amazed, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. So, I mean, I do the best I can, man. I do the best I can.
No, and I appreciate that fact. Now, and trust me, coming from someone that works full time, and has a business on the side where I do artwork. When I find time, when I make time, because that's the important part. I have kids of my own. I've got like I said, a secondary business and everything else. So if it's important to me, I'm going to make time to do this.
Right. So let me stop you real quick, because John leveled this at me the other day, and I'm going to ask you, how can I measure up to you, Sean? What would you like me to do to meet your standard?
Actually, like I said, I gave you all props for going out and doing your observations. Now, my question is, have you incorporated some of the things that we had talked about this past week into your observations?
Yeah, I leveled out my tripod before I started shooting, and I took at least 3 different focal lengths of the same observation.
Okay. So now it comes down to the observation and time wise, because you're stating different times, which is good. You're giving more information than you did before, because before it was just a picture. Could have been taken anytime, anywhere, at any distance, anything. But now you're giving more variables so that we can extrapolate more information from that.
And we'll just take his word for it.
Right. Yeah. It doesn't matter what the level of my jumping through your hoops is. You always have to take my word for it.
Yep. And vice versa, though, right?
I'm not making the statements that you are, Grim. I'm not making the accusations or even.
What statements am I making?
You're.
You have Down syndrome. You're retarded.
You're in a passive aggressive mode right
I
now,
can
where
prove that.
you aren't saying anything directly, but you're trying to put me in the same criticism that you're holding against me.
I'm putting you up against the same scrutiny that I put up against the globe, dude. Don't be upset about it.
I'm not
not being
Grim.
hypocritical.
I'm not upset.
I'm not being hypocritical. Look,
how am I being
I put you
hypocritical,
up to
Grim?
the same scrutiny that I put up to the globe model. Okay?
Awesome.
And you fail 100%. The globe model passed 100%.
Awesome.
I don't understand where your problem is anymore. I'm starting to think that it must be something else other than the data is your problem.
Yeah, but see, I can give that same
You want
monologue.
it to be flat so badly that you won't even consider the other options.
Monologue. I can give that same monologue to you.
You
Grim.
have.
Okay, well then there you go.
This is called your own medicine.
Back at
That's
you.
why I said, so we guess we have to take your word for it, huh? Hence the huh.
Man,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get it now? Because you're saying the same shit. Oh, I have to take your word for it. That's not my vision. Well, I mean, everybody can say the same thing to you, dude. And then you just sit here in a fucking endless circle of argument where no one can figure out anything because everyone won't, do their own work or do their own measurements or listen to anyone else who's talking to them.
What's your point?
You already have your preconceived ideas of what it is already. And if it doesn't fit that, you basically forget about it. And then by the next day, you don't even remember what's been told to you.
Great.
You say, I haven't seen the curvature.
You've just now made claims that you can't back up. You've just made claims that you
I've shown you
can't back up.
curvature. You said the next day, you've never seen curvature. Show me curvature, as if it never happened. And I said, well, don't you remember the Pontchartrain videos from Soundly? That's clearly curvature.
No,
And
it's
then you're
not.
going,
It's clearly atmospheric, Graham.
oh,
It's
if it was clearly atmospheric, how come it's not? If it was clearly atmospheric, then how come you can't explain it?
I can explain it, Grim. I can.
Shit.
You ready? It's the
I'm
ether band. It's the ether band.
Okay, that's not explaining it. First of all, you can't even prove the ether. Second of all, you can't prove the ether effects on light.
What do you think I mean by
approve
ether?
what the ether does to anything.
What do you think I mean by ether, Grim?
Well, you're going to have to clear up what you mean by ether because all the 16 theories of ether that exist today do not account for those observations. Did you create a new ether?
Does anybody on the panel know what I mean by ether?
Oh my God, bro! You're going to have to
please
explain
elaborate.
We're not going to take your word for it or grant you anything in this conversation. Not the slightest idea what you mean with ether. Thank you.
I think I asked for clarification earlier, and what you said was refraction.
Yeah, his boat's sinking because that's air pressure. That's nothing to do with
Is that correct, Travis?
It's basically the atmosphere. Instead of saying atmosphere,
That's
I
a
say
fallacy.
ether band. What fallacy is
You're
that?
wrong.
You're committing
Say
a
that.
fallacy every time you say every time you do that.
Okay, what fallacy is that?
You're changing the definitions
No.
for
So
one.
if
You're
I think
creating new words.
okay, so if you say that,
If you say something to me and I don't understand the term you're using and I ask for clarification, I'm not being obtuse and I'm not dancing around something. You just accused me of a fallacy and I'm just asking you, what are you talking about? This is called the conversation.
Bring it back to the fucking point where you were about to explain what the ether. Excuse me. He's doing it again. You guys are just going to let him. All right, take it back to the point about the ether, bro. Explain why the ether makes light bend to look just like Earth's curvature. Go.
I can't. It just doesn't.
Okay, then I rest my case.
No, you don't rest anything. It's just
fuck
two
I
different
don't.
perspectives.
Watch.
Okay, listen. Hold on.
No. Hang on. It's two perspectives, but we can explain ours. You can explain yours. That's the problem.
Okay, that's no different than you saying that you can prove mathematically.
Wow, there's the dance, folks. There's the dance.
No. Here's the thing. We say it's refraction, and we explain it by the different layers of the gradient, and by refraction and the angles. And then you say, well, it's the ether band, but then you have no explanation for it. It's just like if I say, well, it's unicorn farts.
Right. I don't have to have an explanation. That's where you guys are in your world. You are in a world that demands that you have to have explanations. And
Here's
I don't
the
live
thing.
in that world.
Here's the thing, though. The explanation for refraction.
I have a jar of unicorn
Let me go
farts.
back to Grim. Let me go back to Grim real quick.
No, I want to
Okay,
ask you a question, Travis. Travis, question for you.
Yeah, yeah.
If, as it seems, you have no you have no data, you have nothing.
Okay.
Why the hell do you bother to?
I have data.
You don't have any data, and you. So why the hell?
Shows data for the ether band.
And if you don't really care about it, why are you here?
Okay, you're making two claims. You're making two claims that I don't have data, which I do, and I care, and that I don't care about it, which I do. Okay, so you've just
Show
said
us the
nothing.
data for the ether band.
It's photographic.
Yeah, what's the data for the ether band?
It's photographic.
That's not data. That's
no,
observation.
you don't have an explanation.
Then you don't accept
you don't have
photographic
an
evidence.
explanation.
There's another case of what he was talking about earlier, how you said that he'll say he don't accept photographic evidence when you provide him a photograph. Yet when he wants to produce evidence for his own argument, the little biased fucker shows you photographic evidence.
Okay, when did I say I don't accept photographic evidence?
You are a good dancer. My mind already.
When did I say that? When did I say I don't accept photographic
he says
evidence?
now he says he didn't say that.
1972 Blue Marble.
What was it he said? Inconclusive. That was the exact words that you both were using together when you both came up to agree that photographic evidence was inconclusive. Am I correct?
It depends on what
Am
you're
I
trying
not
to
fucking
prove.
correct? Yes or no? God damn it, yo. Pick it up.
No.
It is correct, Travis. You did make that statement.
We are recorded, you idiot. Of course you did. And I don't forget shit like that. So suck an egg.
Great. You're such a big
That's why I don't like you. That's why I talk to you the way I do.
Grim, calm down.
Grim. Yeah, keep
He's
going.
a dishonest fucking guy. I don't know if you can hear me.
Grim? What else, Grim? What else? Tell me.
Oh,
Tell me
that
more.
was plenty, wasn't it?
No, give me more. Tell me more.
Oh, more? More than what just happened?
Yeah, because I like it actually. I'm a little bit of a masochist there. Do it again.
Yeah, I feel like this is why you're here. Actually,
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, listen, really. Okay, so here's where I would say that, and I'm not going to accuse you guys of anything. I'm not going to call you names, but I would say that if you're going to argue for the Pontchartrain evidence, where is a 365-day record of taking that picture on the same day? You know, that's one thing that we've said. Show us more pictures. Show us more pictures.
And then you give him a 365-day one, and he goes, "Where's the 700?"
No, that's
20?
that's not real.
Whoa, Travis!
Didn't give him that.
Travis.
Yeah.
I asked you.
So repeatability, right?
What?
I asked you the same thing, and you gave excuses.
No, I'm just saying that you guys don't hold yourselves to that same standard. You take one photograph, and you have a conclusion. But you won't let
Actually, Travis.
Lots of photographs. Not only has he taken the photographs, he has recorded the water temperature and air pressure and other details of the days
Good for him.
and
That's
the
absolutely
times.
irrelevant. That's irrelevant.
Why?
Because if the Earth curves, it doesn't give a flying fuck what the air temperature is or what the water temperature.
However,
if the Earth is curved,
air temperature and water temperature will impact refraction.
That's my point, and I don't need the Earth curve to be a part of my explanation.
If the Earth was flat,
well, you know what? I don't
need. We put the land way above your eyes, way up in the sky. The land would be due to that refraction. If the Earth weren't curved, you wouldn't see the refraction the way you do.
Can't even prove
You'd see
that.
the sky. It would look like you're sitting in the bottom of a bowl constantly, and the horizon is probably, it looks like it's up by the power line.
Okay, let me talk to Travis for a minute, Grim. Let me talk to Travis for a minute. Which way does light bend due to refraction normally?
Every way.
Oh, come on.
Just
think about my question for more than a second and then answer it.
Okay. I'm going to try to answer you when I'm taking photographs and I'm looking at this mile marker. And
All right, the simple answer is towards the denser medium.
Grim, be quiet.
Yeah. This is what I brought up earlier on about being in water and asking what angle of the water is hitting my eye. It's hitting my eye at every angle. So when I'm looking at
no, sorry, you don't understand my question. I didn't phrase it clearly.
You danced around it.
So,
I'm
Grim,
not dancing around it. You guys want
Travis. I just told Grim to be quiet. Now, please just let me talk.
But you don't
I
get
want
to
ask
do
this
that,
question.
dude. I mean,
Grim,
I'm not your
shut
kid.
the
Don't
fuck
tell me
up,
to be
or I'll
quiet.
have Jose chuck you out.
Grim, come on, man.
I seriously don't think that's going to happen, dude.
Grim, stop, please.
Quit making such a big deal about one word I say or two words I say. Just focus on your own shit.
All right. So if light is being refracted, which way is it bending, up or down normally?
Yes.
Yes? I don't understand your answer.
It goes in
This isn't
every
obtuse
direction.
at all.
It goes in every direction, guys.
No, I'm not asking that.
Can.
I'm asking which way does the atmosphere cause the light to bend due to refraction?
Well, you're asking the question badly,
is it up
Joe.
or
That's
down?
the problem.
I've already answered this question. You
Joe,
just don't
because
like
it is both. He is right, Joe. You're not asking a good enough question, and he's giving you a good enough answer for the question you're asking. So you need to ask the question differently.
Okay.
About the thickness of the medium.
Refraction in the atmosphere generally causes light to bend in one particular direction.
Can you prove that?
Which direction is that?
That's not true, Joe, by the way. So you got to understand, Joe, that light bends towards the denser medium. That's how you simplify that problem. I said it once for you earlier when you were telling me to shut up, but I was just trying to correct your fucking folly, bro. So don't take such a charge on me next time.
I apologize.
Apology accepted. No, let's go on. Sorry.
Thank you. All right. So Travis, would you agree that light generally bends down due to the density gradient in the atmosphere?
According to the narrative, I have not looked at it myself. I don't look at the world in a microscopic view like that. I'm looking out across the I-81 right now, and all I see is light and green and buildings. I'm not seeing light bending down toward a medium. You know?
So you don't think that there's refraction due to a changing density in the atmosphere?
I do, but I don't think it's clinical. It's not clinical, man. It's not sterile.
What? I don't know what you mean by clinical.
What if it was sterile?
What I mean is that you can't isolate something and make that a standard. It's like you're saying, do you believe that it bends down? But I'm not looking. I'm looking in a world where everything is going on. I'm looking up. I'm looking straight ahead. I've got peripheral vision. All of that stuff is not uniform. It's not uniform.
So that's your argument with standard refraction, then, that it's not a specific, accurate number, right?
That's correct.
Well, neither is the formula for curvature. That's just a ballpark number. So it is standard refraction. It all depends on the conditions of the day. It might be more or less. Nobody said it was exactly accurate.
How can curvature vary? Physical curvature.
I'm saying that the formula for the 8 inches per mile square, that's just a ballpark for a few hundred miles or so.
That's irrelevant. That's irrelevant because I don't look over a few hundred miles. I'm looking 20 miles and 6 miles and whatnot. So keep it in proximity. I don't need to go 100 miles out.
Clouds.
He's conflating with when say the Earth's curvature is to the refraction index.
All I'm saying that is
as a constant, and they're not the same as a constant because the refraction varies, yet the Earth curvature doesn't. Simplified.
Right, and the standard refraction.
Would you expect
it's just
buildings in the
number.
distance? Would you expect buildings in the distance to appear to be higher than they actually are due to refraction?
At times, I don't think I can predict when that would happen.
Why can't you?
Because the atmosphere isn't uniform. It's not a sterile environment. It's not static.
It depends on the conditions, temperature.
It's not static.
Statistically speaking, is it more likely it will be higher or lower?
Yes.
There you go. What? Statistically speaking, is the light going to bend up or bend
Listen,
down?
guys, listen. We're going all the way around the barn now. Here it is. The only statistic that is constant is change.
Right, Travis, you are being completely disinfucking-genuous now.
I'm not. I'm being honest with you, and you guys just
No, you're
don't
not.
want to live in a world. Yeah, you don't want to live in a world
Why?
where you have
If you think you are being honest, then why are you giving silly answers like?
Because
if
you
I
guys want it to be clinical. You want it to be
We
sterile.
live in that society.
We want it to be clinical because that is what we are here for. We are here to have a clinical discussion about things. And
Yeah, but
you are making claims. You are making claims about your observation, and we are trying to clinically break them down in an argument. That's how it goes. Am I right?
And we will take
Am
a
I right?
statistical.
Wait, no. Let me ask.
Sorry,
am
Sean.
I right? Am I right?
Whatever isn't right is left.
On paper, sure.
No, not on paper. Am I right?
Okay, ask your question again. I'm sorry. I'll ask it again.
We are here for a clinical
monkey.
You brought. Oh God. Okay. We are here for a discussion.
No, I'm
I know.
He's
Okay,
totally
listen, I'm
fucking
gonna
with you,
say this
making you
again.
repeat yourself.
No.
He's
I
dance,
don't,
monkey, dance,
Grim,
monkey, dance. That's all he's doing to you right now.
Grim,
I know you're
that
playing.
might be, Grim, that
I was
might be the
I was
way
the first
that
one
you
to jump to
live.
this conclusion with you already.
Grim.
Just dance, monkey. Yeah, there you go, Carlos.
Grim.
Get it.
I don't operate that way. I'm not passive aggressive.
Oh, that's a lie right there, dude.
It's not a lie. You okay, whatever, man. Whatever. Listen, I ask questions for clarity. Go ahead and repeat your question and I will answer it.
You are asking questions for clarity, which is still a clinical observation of what we are doing right now. We are having a discussion which is clinical. We are trying to break down and figure out an answer that everybody is happy with or nobody is happy with, whichever way it goes. But it's still clinical. Am I right?
No.
No? Okay. So you're just here just to have an argument for argument's sake.
I don't think you can ask that. It's not.
It's not what? It's not having a clinical conversation about the curvature of the Earth or breaking down any observation that is made.
I can't give you a clinical breakdown of what I'm seeing because it changes all the time. You know, that's
You're
the
right.
only thing.
I am so glad you brought up this point. Everything changes, right?
It's a matter of how much.
Everything changes, right?
In terms of what we're talking about with photographic observations, yeah.
Okay, so everything changes. So, do you bring snowshoes with you when you go to work every day?
No.
Okay, so why not? Because it could snow 4 feet today, because everything changes, right?
Okay, listen. No, then you're wrong. No. Now.
Oh, I'm wrong now?
Yeah,
I'm wrong that everything doesn't change at this
that
point.
way. Okay, listen.
It doesn't change that way?
That's
oh,
correct.
now you're making a prediction.
No. You are completely derailing this conversation with
No, I am
bullshit.
not.
Yes, you are.
No.
You where I am in September.
You said everything changes. So if everything changes,
right.
If
Yeah,
everything changes,
everybody in the audience pay
oh,
attention
now you're pandering to the audience. I see how it is.
This is bullshit. Total
No,
bullshit.
see, what's bullshit is you will not accept one picture, but you will accept another picture.
Am I talking about the weather changing right now? Am I talking about the weather changing? What
yes,
am I
you are talking about the atmosphere. You are talking about the atmosphere and the ether.
You are actually, yeah. Just to be fair.
I'm not talking about the weather.
Now you're not. Okay. No, you don't want to have a conversation about that?
The temperature of the water and the temperature of the air have a lot to do with the weather. I don't know where you're from, bro, but yeah, you must not surf much.
Or fish.
Well,
have fun with your obfuscation of this entire conversation right now.
Really?
Oh no, you've been obfuscating this conversation. You've been obfuscating this conversation for for the entire time we've been on. The
No,
entire time.
you guys have to join forces now and have your cry fest because my
Well, actually,
answers
we're still waiting
aren't
for you
making
to even
happy.
touch on the surface of why the ether band can cause light to bend. And where's your experiment for the ether band?
And we're still trying for an explanation of what the ether band is.
It's the
Yeah, I'm not sitting
atmosphere,
here-
it's air, it's moisture, it's light.
So it's the
it's
atmosphere.
temperature.
Okay, so there we already have words for
So
that,
it's
right?
temperature.
Do we agree that we already have words for what you're saying and calling a different name?
No, because those
Okay,
words
so
are
then
loaded
you are
with,
proposing a new physics and something that we need you to explain to us then that doesn't exist in the realm of books, right? We can't read what this is about somewhere else.
Yeah,
You're the only
I would love to be
progenitor
able to,
of this information that I know of. So you're the one who's going to have to explain it.
yeah,
brother.
call me Copernicus. Yep, call me Copernicus. Call me
We'll
Newton.
call you by your real
Call
name.
me Einstein.
Say I
No,
won't.
Travis, we've been explaining
call
things
me
over and
Mr.
over
Tibbs?
again.
You're gonna
call you by your
We've been
government name,
explaining
bro.
things over and over again, and now we're asking
Jerry?
for an explanation, and you aren't giving it.
You haven't asked me for an explanation. Go ahead and ask me.
What is the ether?
Jerry Webster.
Well, I'm not talking about the ether. I'm talking about the ether band, and that's simply.
Okay, what's the ether band?
It's the quality of the air as you look over a distance across the horizon.
How isn't that the atmosphere?
Hold on, one at a time, please.
Isn't that the atmosphere?
I already
Isn't
said
this-
that. I already said
Okay,
that.
so it's the atmosphere.
The quality, as in how transparent and what's it called? Not transparent, but opacity. Isn't that what you mean by that?
Yep.
Okay.
So how opacity has to do with distortion and
I'm sorry,
obstruction.
Carlos. You fell off the clarity wagon again. I'm not hearing you clearly.
I agree.
Travis, it's John.
Hi, John.
I just
How about
want to
now?
say,
Okay.
yesterday you Chris paraphrased your ether band statement. He said, "Is it a compression band?" And you said yes, it's a compression.
That's what I was going to say. Opacity has nothing to do with it.
So to clear up the ether band thing, you agreed yesterday that it's a compression band.
Well, I didn't say that it was exclusively compression. I said that was an aspect of it.
I really appreciate you
What's
remembering
another
that.
aspect of it?
I really
just heard
do
two
appreciate you
people-
remembering that because that puts a big question mark on the idea of this guy being serious or is he just being cognitive, having cognitive dissonance and being serious, because if he's holding two opposing ideas together.
And the point was, to try and quantify this band, you should have everything that appears to be missing squashed into that band. So, for example, the image that Al Kay produced, where the midship was with an entirely red hull, the hull was missing. But if it was a compression band, you would still see a thin red line of the hull. It would just be compressed, but it wasn't there.
You're right, sure. There are numerous variables going on at one time. You can't say, like, I can't plug in a compression equation. I can't give that. There's no way.
Yeah, we knew that already because you said that you can't make predictions about what the ether band will do. So
In a
that's
precise clinical fashion, I can tell you
No-brainer.
in general.
Well, how about you get us some statistics on it? Get us a mean. Get us some.
That's on
get
you.
us a couple of standard.
I don't need to do that.
Why?
If you want to
Why
pay
do
me,
we need?
It's on us to prove his theory.
If you want
Why do you want us to prove your theory?
If you want to commission me
making
to
it
do
on
this,
us to wait a minute. He's making it on us to come up with his hypothesis.
Yep.
That's the stupid part of it.
No.
Sure it
I
is,
did
because
not
you haven't
say
even
that.
completed your hypothesis yet.
I didn't say that. I said if you want
Your
to pay me
hypothesis
for
must
my
include
labor,
why this is
if
happening.
you want to pay me
Who's
for my
going to make
labor,
us pay for it? Why are we going to pay you for something that you should do for yourself?
I don't need to do it. You guys are making the demand.
Look,
I don't.
Why are you not paying us for proving
That's an
you the
argument
globe?
concedence right there. If he doesn't need to do it to prove his argument, then he's not really engaged in the argument.
You should be
it's a
paying
backdoor
us,
concedence
Travis,
to the
for
argument. He's conceded.
educating you on your stupidity.
He's just conceded. This is not a real argument.
What's my commission
Grim,
to you?
cut it out.
It's the truth,
Stop
though.
over talking
He just completely
others.
conceded by saying that he doesn't need to prove his own argument or to make give
That's not what I said.
evidence for his
That's
own
not what I
argument.
said.
He
That's not
doesn't
what I
even
said.
need to have his own argument, he said. That is what you said, you knucklehead. You're making us come up with your hypothesis for the ether.
I did not.
You not having your own argument,
did not say
my
that,
man.
Grim. Didn't
Stop
say
interrupting.
that. Didn't say that.
Stop interrupting.
Technically
No.
speaking, he didn't
Make
say that.
me.
He just said that we
You're so
need
base,
to pay
dude.
him
Make me.
to do it. See,
So
in a real discussion,
base.
the opposition doesn't pay you for you doing your shit.
No, I'm
I agree
happy
with
with the. I'm happy with the job that I'm
For a
doing. If
change.
you want me to go over and above that, that's on
If you want to prove your shit, it's not up to us to pay you.
If you are
Agreed, Larry.
requiring,
Do
if
you
you're requiring of me,
would you pay me to prove the globe?
if I am going to demand of
Will you pay me to prove the globe?
if I'm going to require
Can you answer the question? Will you pay me to prove the globe?
I don't want to spend my money that way.
I think he might.
Okay, thank you. Why the fuck would we waste money on you proving
Oh
your
my
shit?
god! Oh my god! You know.
Oh my god! Oh my god! All you gotta do is give
Oh
us
my
a reason.
god, Grim!
Look, you
stop
gotta
it.
when you
I
go
was
up to get a
talking.
loan, right, from investors.
Graham, when you
go up to the
interrupt me, I lose
investors
my train of thought. I
with a
lost my train
proposal.
of thought, Graham.
Look, you go up to the investors with a proposal, and they try to find feasibility in your idea that can generate a profit for themselves. And that's
Who
what
you
we're
talking
trying
to,
to
Grim?
do. We're
Who
trying to
you
see
talking to?
with what ideas do you have that are interesting enough or positive enough in the relations to show that it'd be worth investing in doing what you want to do. So you got to
It
come
is
up with your
worth it. It
proposal
is
and
worth
give it
it.
to
You
us.
want to know why?
That would be your hypothesis.
It is worth it.
If
It
anybody
is
thinks
worth
I'm
it. Do you
stupid,
want to know
they gotta
why?
take a seat to that shit. Listen, I'm just tired of being treated
know why
like
it's worth
I'm
it?
not paying attention to this conversation, and you guys are just going around in circles with this knucklehead. Since the very beginning, I've been watching this shit. But am I right? Does he need to propose what he needs to? He needs to come up with his hypothesis, give it to us, so that then we can make a decision on whether or not we'd like to fund his bullshit. Right? We're just gonna.
I don't
go
think
around in
his
circles.
suggestion that we pay him was a serious suggestion.
No,
I don't think he was serious about that.
I meant anywhere in physics.
No,
Like, anywhere in physics,
is
not
it?
just him
Are you?
particularly, but any
Yeah,
business
well, I was
proposal,
just.
any investors.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to investors and say, hey man, I got this crazy idea, but I'm not gonna tell you what it is.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say you could get, you could get grant money for it if you really wanted. I mean, you would have to build up a proposal, send it in, and ask for a grant. If that's what you really want, then be passionate about it. Do it.
You ain't doing it.
Yeah, ain't doing it. No, I would rather it be a grassroots movement. I mean, why don't you guys invest in it, right? I'll work on a hypothesis, or you give me the parameters.
So you would say no to money?
No, I wouldn't say.
You would say no to actually proving. You would say no to actually
listen.
proving the flat Earth.
Listen. I think, and okay. Here, how about this? Would you rather buy a used car from someone? That
How about this?
Hold on, please. All things considered, you trust the guy. You believe that you're going to be buying a reliable car. Would you rather pay for a used car that you think is reliable than go into financing?
This is a bullshit example. This is a bullshit.
It's not.
It's a stupid comparison.
I would rather go through you guys. No, it's not. I'm not going to have to sign in triplicate.
So can you answer my question?
Blah blah blah. Yeah, go ahead.
Travis.
Say it again. Yeah.
Can you answer my question? So you would actually say no to money and no to proving flat Earth?
Not if it was from you guys.
If we are not going to pay for it, you would say no to some other party paying for it.
It depends on
Because
what
you
the
don't
stipulations
actually
are.
give a fucking shit about proving flat Earth or about anything
okay,
else.
fine.
It's
If you're
just
gonna,
about yeah.
yeah, okay. Listen to me.
I'm starting to side
Do
with
you guys,
Mr. Grimm now.
Okay,
Yeah.
do you guys
Thank you.
honestly? Hold on.
I'm just a little
You
bit
guys
advanced. I'm ahead of the curve a little bit, and I knew way ahead of
the
time
what?
what this sucker's game was.
Ahead of the
I mean,
what?
I've already dealt with him
Yeah.
maybe
Look, I don't
13
have a
times.
game. I don't
Hey,
have
Travis.
A game. Listen, yeah.
You know, the thing is, you might be right. There might be some things that we haven't learned about the atmospheric effects on light. You could be right about that, but you are very far away from having anything like a hypothesis at this point.
Okay, so let me ask you an honest question. Do you really honestly think that there is the possibility of finding a grant to, I guess, for lack of a better term, provide evidence for or against the globe model?
Well, you
No,
don't word it that way.
I was specifically talking about the atmospheric effects on light.
Help him out, guys. Just tell him you don't
I'm
word
not,
it that way.
I'm not.
Yeah, I get it, Grim. Okay, I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Hey, listen, I never thought about it. Okay, fine.
I can
Cool. All right, let's move on.
I've just been going out and shooting my camera.
Okay, yeah, let's move on. The money question is silly anyway.
So can I ask a few questions now to you, Travis?
Yes, sir.
Right, so I've been listening for a few days, and your basic assertion is that the accumulative density of the atmosphere between you and your observation point is what causes things to obstruct from the bottom up.
That's a dynamic of it, sure, but that's not exclusively, yes.
That's your main claim, though, yes?
That would be a part of the claim. It doesn't always happen that way, right? You know what I mean? I don't see mirroring, but I do see squashing. And I don't see squashing, but I do see magnification. And I don't see magnification, but I do see obstruction. So there's so many different effects that aren't consistent on a day-to-day or even an hourly basis.
Right. So in this ether band, how deep is it?
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love that question. Listen, if you want, I'll look for the clip. I posted. I'm like, look at this. How do we know how far this is? Okay, so let me tell you, for instance, okay, then I'm going to start geeking out. So when I went across the Chesapeake Bay for the first time and shot back over to shoot the lighthouse, I had the lighthouse was mirrored on itself, and it was stretched out, and I would say the width of or the length of your first the section of your pinky. You know, like what's that, a half inch maybe, right? So I'm looking at that on the water and I'm thinking, okay, now what does that actually physically represent? Where that lighthouse reflection stops and then extends into the distance and then meets the actual lighthouse. How the fuck far is that? How do I figure that? That was an amazing question. Yeah, I was really
That wasn't my question. Right.
On
a day where you have you have as crystal clear a day as you possibly can take an observation on.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're looking at a lighthouse, and we'll say for the sake of it, this lighthouse is 100 meters tall, and you lose the bottom 50 meters of it in this compression band, ether band, whatever way you want to describe it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, sir.
So if we're on a flat plane, you will agree that the hypotenuse of a triangle is the longest side, yes?
Yes.
Right. So why is it if you take an observation now, we'll say at 6 feet of an observation height with a drone, and you raise that drone up to 100 feet, why do you not see more of the lighthouse, considering you are looking through an almost identical amount of accumulated density in the atmosphere?
Okay, did you say that you increase your elevation with a drone?
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to change the angle at which you're looking, and so you're changing the dynamics, so you're not going to see the same thing.
And you realize on a flat plane, that change would be minimal, and it would not justify the additional observation of the additional height of a lighthouse that you would see as compared to being on a globe.
I disagree with that. I don't think that we have
Right. So what measurements have you taken of the atmosphere to justify any of that claims that you have just made?
Again, I've made this statement and Sean didn't like it, but I'm going to say it again. I would have to dedicate my life to getting out and seeing that same shit over and over and over again and making those comparisons. It's just not that easy. I just can't go out and take one picture and prove it to you. All I can show you is go, look at that. Isn't that crazy? And then I show you another one and go, look at that. That's even crazier.
So your explanation is based solely on the image that you're looking at the time. Is that a fair statement? Well, your explanation for phenomenon is based on the particular picture that you're looking at the time.
Okay, like I'm not trying to be. I'm not trying to dance. I'm not trying to be obtuse. Let me give the lighthouse illustration again. Okay, I have an image of the lighthouse, and I have a clear shot. Well, it's not clear. I have a shot where I can see the ground. Okay, I can see the ground. The lighthouse is 32 feet high, and at the base, that base is 10 feet elevation. So there's ground below before the water line. And I have an image where I can see the entire lighthouse, and then I can see that there's ground underneath it. The description that I gave to they and them was that I have another image where the land is completely gone, completely blocked by the mirror. Right?
No. That wasn't my question.
Hold on.
That wasn't what I asked you about.
That's fine, but I'm talking to Joe right now, so I'm sorry if I'm not addressing you, they and them. We can follow up in a minute. I'm trying to answer Joe real quick, okay? So my point was to say that I'm going to say, because I can see the land on the one and not the other, the reason why I can't see the other is because the mirage is the obstruction. I can't see through it.
So if you're giving specifics, you can't do that without a particular image that you're looking at the time.
Well, I could make something up, but how would we ever be able to discuss it outside of it being an idea in our heads? I mean, what fun, that's great fun for imagining what could possibly happen.
I could take a picture and I could describe.
What if I had a wife that was built like Scarlett Johansson? What if my wife was like, Scarlett Johansson?
I could take a picture. I could take a picture and I could describe the atmospheric conditions and the dimensions of the buildings and the distances, and you could make a prediction based on what you think your hypothesis is, and we could compare your predictions to what the image actually is. But you can't do that. You can only start talking about what your ether band is once you've seen the picture.
I don't think you can. Okay, I'm going to say this again. I don't think that you can make a precise clinical prediction like that. I just don't think it's possible from what I've seen.
You can do an estimate.
Why? I mean, that's just, there's no point to that. It's like talking, like if you go.
That's how weather prediction works.
No, it's like going out on a date with a doctor, and she knows how to describe a smile, but she never smiles. Who the fuck cares if she knows what the mechanics of smiling is if she doesn't ever smile?
A blind person.
So my point is
the Earth curve calculator will give me how much of a building is being obscured by water.
But you won't ever see that. You won't ever see what you can work out on paper. You won't see it. So maybe
according to who?
According to me, maybe that should be my hypothesis. Maybe here's my working hypothesis. I'm just making it up. Listen, I'm just making this up off the top of my head. If an equation for Earth curve is worked out to describe how X building will be observed at X distance, the
and include refraction.
Okay, yeah, including, well, whatever. Any equation you want to put in there, the follow-up is it will be impossible to see that result except on paper because the atmosphere will not cooperate with you.
And what is the statistical difference between what you get on paper and the actual results? Because people have measured buildings, they've taken the height of the building that has been obscured, and it has agreed almost within a couple of feet of what the calculator says will be obscured.
Yeah. So how precise would that equation have to be before you will accept that the equation works?
Well,
does it have to be 100%?
I would hope so, but you're giving me information that if you have anything for me to consider, for me to read, as if there's a paper or if there's someone who has worked this out, I am by all means, I will read that paper or look at that information. But simply, you're giving me.
Are you really trying to suggest that you're unaware of the Earth curve calculator on Metabunk?
No,
are you really suggesting that?
No. Okay, look. No, I'm not suggesting that. I'm saying, unless I'm not being clear, I'm saying the Earth curve calculator is on paper. It's clinical. It doesn't incorporate the atmosphere. There's no standard refraction to tell you.
Okay, it's been a while since I've been out there. Doesn't the Metabunk Earth curve calculator include standard refraction?
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
And if you look at Red's Rhetoric channel, there is a video where somebody claims that the obscured height of some chimneys is just again due to this atmospheric refraction or some weird form of perspective that makes things disappear from the bottom up. But when the known details of the height of those chimneys are put in using the Metabunk calculator, it conforms with the globe. It agrees that this amount will be obscured.
Okay.
So the calculator shows what the image matches what the image actually shows.
Yes.
Okay.
Every time I've used
Travis,
don't get too smarmy and snarky. I have a question to ask.
Go on.
I was trying to listen and not plan my response, so now I have to try to think about what I'm going to ask. Give me just a second, please.
Okay.
Just while you're thinking, Travis.
No, don't talk. I'm going to take my earbuds out. I'm going to try to get my question.
Okay.
Man, don't hurt yourself.
Shit's going down right now.
Yeah, if he's taking his earbuds out, just for the rest of you guys, every single time I've ever used the curve calculator, the Metabunk curve calculator, and included standard refraction, it works out pretty much exactly.
All right, I'm back.
He needs to pull the headphones off so the smoke can get out. Go ahead.
And it is an average. We understand that too. So there will be the outliers, you know.
Okay, I'm back. So again, I'm just trying to engage on what you guys are telling me. Let me say for the first of all, I don't know who it was, but I think it was recently, within 2 weeks or so, on Jose's. I would think, because really that's the only place I go anymore. I invited someone to help me make a prediction and then see if our observation matches up. So that is a practical offer that I've made to someone. And you know how life goes. That person hasn't followed up with me, but I'm not bent out of shape over it. But
was that the day that we were all looking at the moon together? And
I don't know. I don't remember really.
One of the ballers took a photo of the moon and put it in the chat, but none of the flat earthers took a photo of the moon and put it in the chat.
I'm not really sure what's your point. But here, let me go back. So here's my question. Here's my question. Okay, so if I on paper take all of the information: air temperature, distance, height of my building, and standard refraction. And on paper, I work out an equation to show me what I should see. And then I go out and I take a picture, and I look at that picture. How am I avoiding just saying, "Yep, that's exactly what I thought I was going to see"? Because that's what I see as a flat earther, right? This is what I'm saying. We're both going to see the same observation. We're not going to see something different than the other person is seeing. And just simply because...
except that you can't make a prediction about how much of the building is going to be obscured,
right?
and the Earth curve calculator
world.
does.
No, it doesn't, because...
No, but Travis, you are making a claim.
Hold on. My point was, if I take a picture and then hold that picture up to the equation, you're telling me that the equation that I have written out equals the picture, but there's no way to prove that. There's no way.
Wait a minute. Right. Hold on. The Earth curve calculator will tell you how much of a distant building will be obscured based on the distance, and the Metabunk calculator includes standard refraction. So it'll tell you how much the water will be blocking the building in the background. Okay? There's no equation for you to write. There's no figuring anything out that you have to do. You just put in your height and the distance to the building, and what else? Help me out, guys. Is that it?
Height of the building itself.
Yeah, but
height of the building itself. Yes.
My point is
and
that all you have.
Yeah, and then you can compare that to a picture and say, where's the water line on this building? Is it at 800 feet or whatever the calculator says it should be at?
Yeah, and I'm telling you that you can't interpret the picture the way that the equation will work out. There's no way for you to do that. You can't measure what you're seeing and say, okay, here's what this is, and here's what this is. You can't do it.
I'll tell you how you can. I'll tell you how you can. Okay, hold on.
No.
I'll tell you how you
show
can.
me. Don't explain it. No, show it. That's why I said on the show, I said, okay, I will give you the building I'm looking at. I will give you the distance. I will give you my height. I will give you the air temperature and whatnot, and you make your prediction. I'll take a picture, and then we'll see what happens. That's my offer.
Yes, and I don't have to work to your terms the same way you're not agreeing to work to ours.
Okay.
But in a picture, if you have a building of a known size, there is a thing called scale, and therefore you can work out the amount of the building you can see and the amount of the building therefore you cannot see.
Something just came to mind, and I've said it before, but I'm going to say it again. If you give me the Metabunk calculations and you have a standard refraction equation that's in there, you still don't have the atmosphere that you're going to be looking through. That is not a figure in your equation, and you can't therefore draw any conclusion on the paper that you have.
Wait, plain truth. A statement of you can't draw any conclusion is an overstatement. I will take your challenge. Take a picture, tell me the time of day, your location, and that's pretty much it. And without showing me the picture. And I will try to figure out how much of the building should be obscured on that day, on that location, based on meteorological data.
Okay, Barney. Right? Yeah, Barney, you have my email address because we've exchanged hellos, okay? All right. Now, you tell me what you need, and I'll get it to you.
Location as accurate as you can of where you were standing. Like if you take out your phone and just write down the coordinates of where you are, that'll be fine, just fine.
I already. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, based on that, I will see which way you're pointing. I can figure those things. Oh, yeah, right. If you're not going to show me the picture, I can't, right? The heading in which
don't you need to know? Don't you need to know? Like say for instance, if I take a picture of the red roof air bed and breakfast, if I if I don't tell you what that house is or how big it is, how are you going to be
Yeah,
able to
he
make
needs
any...
to know how large the object is. He needs to know how high you're taking the photo from and how far away, and that's all he needs to know, as long as it's over water.
Well, he can look up all that information. He can look up all the information. What he does need to know is what you're looking at.
I need your exact location and the direction in which you're pointing, and the exact time and date.
How can I tell you the direction? There's no
Compass.
North, south, east, or west.
Okay, that's going to be specific enough for you.
If you're pointing in an exact direction, yes, because then I can open up Google Earth, look up where that is, and what you're expected to see. I can look up meteorological data for that day and that location. I can look up satellite maps and see what the weather was like there, what the pressure was, stuff like that.
Okay.
And based on that, right? So I know what the refractive index of air is. I know what the refraction of air is at standard temperature and pressure. From the meteorological data, I will not get an exact temperature and pressure, but I will get it accurate to some degree. From your information right?
Yeah,
and from that, I will be able to roughly tell you. Like I could be off by, let's say, 20%. Or 10%, but
so
I can tell you whether it's looming more, whether it should be looming more or less than what you expect.
Okay, so if I give you all of this,
you have an average day.
If I give you all of this and you work out you crunch your numbers, and I take a picture, are you telling me that you're going to go, see, I told you that's exactly what I expected to see? How would you verify that based on the picture? Because that's what I'm saying. All you're going to do is you're going to make an equivocation between what you have on paper and what you see. There's no way for you to validate what you're seeing. I just don't think it's possible.
The only requirement is that the picture is clear enough that I can see visually how much obstruction there is in the building, but after I have calculated how much obstruction there should be. Right? If we can see how much of the building is visually obstructed in the picture, and I have a number which I have calculated before that, I have made a prediction of what will be in the picture. If those heights align with each other with some degree of accuracy, right? If I'm not wildly off, that should confirm my position. If you take 3 such pictures with 3 different diffractions and give me the information for 3 days, and I'm correct on each of those days within those parameters of error, I think you should consider that a proof.
Okay, so again, I didn't memorize everything you said. If you want to send me an email with as much details as you need, including the focal length, right? Do you want me to go to 428?
Nope,
Do you want me
don't
to go
care.
to 357? Doesn't matter.
This has nothing to do with the camera. Right?
Okay.
The focal length will not change. The focal length, the zoom level, and stuff like that will not change the amount of obstruction, right? If a building
I agree.
If the building has 15 stories and 3 stories are obstructed, if you take another camera, 3 stories will still be obstructed, and if you take a telescope, 3 stories will still be obstructed. So I don't care about the camera. All I need is your exact location, your orientation, where you were pointing, and like you can, if you haven't written those down, you can figure those up on Google Maps based on your images without showing me the pictures, right? And the exact date and time when the pictures were taken. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so if you don't mind, Travis, I have one more question for you about this ether band and the obstruction you are seeing. So, how far away would you say the horizon is at a 6-foot elevation when you start to see buildings obscured?
Oh, no clue. I would depend on the ether band.
Right, but it's roughly between 3 and 5 miles, yes?
I guess so.
Right. So, by your own claim that this is because of the accumulation of density in the atmosphere you're looking through, how the hell are we seeing the sun 3,000 miles away? Because if you think that 5 miles along the horizontal is more accumulation of atmosphere between that and looking at the sun, that's one hell of a claim to be making.
I'm not making a claim about the sun right now. You're bringing up a red herring.
No, it's not a red herring. It's your claim is that one of the biggest problems is the accumulation of atmosphere between you and your observation point. The accumulation of the atmosphere does not stop just because you're going horizontally as opposed to vertically. Sorry, I put that the wrong way around. Does not stop vertically.
Okay, what do you want me to say about the sun? I don't feel like this is pertinent to my point because I'm dealing with proximity. I'm dealing with 2 miles, 6 miles, 9 miles, and 20 miles.
Exactly. Right? If you can't see things in that short a distance, how are we seeing things at such a long distance just because we're looking vertically as opposed to horizontally? And we're not even talking about 90 degrees above the horizon.
I'm not making any claims about what we can see in the sky. I'm talking about looking over land and water through the atmosphere.
Doesn't the sun's rays go through the atmosphere?
I'm sorry, but I really don't see the relevance of where we're going.
Dancing.
With this, I'm not dancing. If you guys are bringing up something that I don't see the relevance of, I'm not dancing.
The relevance is we don't have two different sets of optics for things up there and things down here.
Yeah, but you don't know what
are one optics.
Yeah, but you don't know what's up there.
See, he knew the relevance.
I'm not talking about what the sun is. I am purely taking your assertion that it is the accumulation of the atmosphere which starts obscuring things.
Yeah, but when you look up...
The accumulation of the atmosphere does not stop just because you move off an angle from looking horizontally across a plane to looking at an angle up into the sky. The accumulation still occurs.
No, but it's less.
It's less, but we can see something that flat earthers claim to be 3,000 miles away. But
I didn't make that claim. There you go with a straw man. I didn't make that claim.
No.
So is it further?
I don't know, man. I'm telling you, I don't make claims about space.
I'm not claiming this has nothing to do with space. This is about the accumulation of the atmosphere.
Okay, listen to me, please. My point, my argument is, at the horizon, as I'm looking over, I don't know how to describe it. Straight above me is 90 degrees. If I'm looking straight out, is that 0? Or is that 45?
How are we seeing the sunrise then when it's on the horizon?
I'm sorry?
How are we seeing the sunrise when it's on the horizon?
I don't know. We just are. We just do.
And you see, do you not understand that this is the problem, Travis? You're making claims about something specific, and then when another point is brought up, you just brush them aside.
No, I'm not brushing anything aside. I'm telling you I don't know.
But then how do you know that what you're saying about a 20-mile observation is correct?
Because I'm making an observation and I'm describing what I see. So if
No. You are going beyond explaining your observation. You are making a claim about the accumulation of the atmosphere and the atmospheric effects. But when you go beyond something that we physically know isn't touching the ground, you just brush those observations aside.
Okay, listen to me. I try not to hand wave, dismiss, or ignore anything that you're saying. So here's what I hear you saying to a certain extent, and if I don't say it correctly, then correct me. If I'm looking out over 9 miles and I don't see a channel marker light blinking, but I do see the sun rising, and you say, how can you not see the one but you see the other? I'm going to say, that the other one, the sun, is brighter, so it's cutting through the atmosphere. It's a stronger source, right? I mean, that's what makes sense to me. Is that in the area of what you were asking?
No, but that still goes against the fact that you are saying it is an accumulation of this ether band that prevents us from seeing stuff on the horizon. Because in the morning, the light from the sun is not that bright because of it's diffused by the atmosphere. But again, you cannot just say that it only happens on the horizon, and I have no other justification for it anywhere else in the atmosphere, but I know that it happens like this on the horizon. You are making claims without having anything to actually back them up.
I disagree. I'm sorry. I disagree.
To take a step further than that, why would there even be a horizon?
That's crazy. That's like saying
why would the sun ever come up or down from the horizon on a flat Earth?
Okay, listen. When you look over the distance and you can't see a car because of the mirage effect, and then all of a sudden you see its headlights, it's
but we
simply
can
getting
scale
close
that.
to you.
Yeah, we can scale that though.
Yeah,
we can scale the amount of angular size an object at a particular size will take from a particular distance that it moves. We have a clear formula for that. It happens to every object that we have.
All right, Grim. So I have
hold on a
footage.
second.
Okay.
So clearly, if the sun were moving further away from me during the duration of the day to come to this so-called vanishing point, right? Then why is it the same size all day long? Why doesn't it act like any other matter in the universe that we know of?
Yeah, I've answered this question numerous times. I don't know what the sun is. No, it's not dancing. I'm giving you an answer.
We know the sun is made of matter, right?
No.
Why not? It emits light and heat. And it's the only thing we know that can be emitting light and heat is matter.
Yeah, but okay, is it possible the sun could be something else?
It could be leprechaun farts, but do we know of leprechaun farts?
That doesn't matter. That's irrelevant. That's an argument from silence. No, that's an argument from silence.
We know that matter behaves in a particular way.
But then you would have to then say we know what the sun is, and I just don't think that that's possible. But
we know a lot about what the sun is. We know a lot about what matter the sun is made of.
I see the material for the next episode.
Travis, by making the claim that you know what the sun isn't, how do you make that claim and expect us to listen to any claim you make about it?
I expect you to loosen up your sphincter muscles with your scientific standards and just be a little bit more loose and flexible in talking about the nature of our world.
You mean our eyes, right? By that?
No, you guys are anal. You guys are anally retentive. You have
anal. You went homo with it. Okay, I was trying to give you
another
I didn't.
Window. No, Graham, I didn't go homo with it. Anal retentive, right? That just means like you have OCD on the brain. Like you have to crisscross. You have to cross your T's and dot your I's. You can't leave an I without a dot over the top of it. That's all I mean.
Butthole, so flat Earth can fuck it. Yeah.
No, you went there, Grim. Everybody else knows that. Everybody else in the audience, you took it there, Grim, not me.
Okay. Why do you even say sphincter in the first place? I gave you a back door.
Oh, back door. Oh, there it is. There's another homosexual reference there. Good, nice job there, Grim.
Yeah.
Way to go, you homosexual.
Do you have a suggestion about what the sun might be if it's not a star?
Yeah, because girls don't have buttholes, right?
You know what? What's interesting is that I wish that I could go back in time.
She says no.
I wish that I could go back in time where I wasn't predisposed, right, and start looking at the world and just start trying to figure shit out without anything but my experience. And I can't do that. None of us can erase how we've been trained to think about things in a certain way.
Well, you're assuming I've been trained to think in a certain way.
You have been. I have been.
As Travis's lawyer, I would advise him not to answer the question about the sun.
I don't think he was planning on answering it.
No, I am absolutely an alternative cosmologist, 100%.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, you don't.
Yeah,
that's the truth.
don't.
That's the truest thing you've ever said.
Yeah.
Right. So,
The
Travis,
current
do you know
scientific explanation
do you know what the atmosphere
is
Well, I know what I've been told it is, but I mean, if I'm just breathing air right now. Am I breathing really small water molecules? Am I breathing in light? I don't know. Am I breathing in dust? Sure.
It's a yes or no question. Do you know what the atmosphere is? I will answer that. I have a very basic understanding of the composition. Beyond that, I have no understanding of the atmosphere.
That's my answer too. Yeah. Okay.
Right. So how are you making these claims that the atmosphere is responsible for all these effects without knowing what it is?
I don't have to know what it is.
He doesn't have to know what it is. He doesn't have to explain why the sun does what it does. Doesn't have to explain why the moon does what it does.
Exactly.
I'm not making a claim about the elemental. Listen.
So this isn't a debate at all, right?
I said I'm not making a claim about the elemental structures of this observation.
But you're ascribing it properties without knowing what it is.
I mean, just imagine from our position.
You're actually,
plain truth, like if a guy comes into a contest and the contest is to build a diorama, and one guy builds a diorama and the other doesn't, do you think he's even entered the contest? I mean, seriously, you're not
okay.
You're invalid.
That might make sense to you, but I don't follow your analogy in this discussion.
Well, here it is. We have a working model that fits the observations. You don't have a working model that fits the observations. How are you thinking you're in the contest?
How you have to justify that your model is even correct. I can make some shit up if I want. It doesn't mean that it's right.
No. We already justified it amongst ourselves. The people who can actually think on three-dimensional levels and with more complex ideas in mind, they're actually figuring it out. And we do amongst ourselves know it. It's not our fault that we can't teach it to the people who cannot figure it out.
Yeah, Travis, there's no observation
it's like getting mad at a horse after you told this horse a joke because the horse didn't laugh. I'm not
male innovations.
You.
Right.
What did you say, Joe? Oh, Joe, what did you just say?
What I said was there are no observations that contradict the spherical model for the Earth. There's not one.
Okay, I don't believe that you can find.
And I challenge you to find one.
I don't think that you can find one that will confirm. It goes both ways.
The sun's angular size doesn't change throughout the day. That's confirming the model, because that's what the model predicts.
No, that's circular reasoning and begging the question. All you have is an observation, and you've worked out an explanation for why that might be the case, right? So you
so
hold on.
Sure.
So basically,
yeah. Okay. No, you're right.
All right. So yeah, there you go.
All right. Here's another one then. The guy in Texas and a guy in California don't see two different moon phases on the same day.
I gotta go on mute. I'm sorry, guys.
Good. A guy in Texas and a guy in New York don't see different moon phases on the same day. There's another observation debunks the flat Earth. Local.
Well, I have a question for all flat earthers that I've never been able to get an answer to. There are people in fields of science who dedicate their life, whether it's for financial reasons or just they have an interest in it. Things we use today, like computers and everything, are built off our understanding of science, of quantum physics and everything. At what stage do the people who have actually studied this and increased our understanding of the universe as we currently have it, where do they all suddenly stop being correct when all our electronics and everything else are built off the fundamental understanding?
Compartmentalization.
I almost think that there's an argument for that. Something to do with technological argument, right? Like, I think we understood how to use magnets before we understood what magnets were doing. And then our idea of what magnets are doing has changed over time. So I don't know if that's actually the best argument.
According to the arguments that I've heard presented, somewhere between Pythagoras and Aristotle.
Yes, but if you take the departmentalization of effects, I had this argument before with a person, right? So if you run a business So, like, one of the common claims is we didn't go to the moon. If there was that level of departmentalization, that would never have happened because you simply wouldn't have had, the people in each department wouldn't have had enough information to build components that would work well enough with people building something in another department. Like,
I didn't say it was a good argument.
No, but I've had this with the flat earthers. And
I know.
If you look at
I'm
any
totally with you.
Yeah, if you look at any business, if one department doesn't know what another one's doing, it's in trouble very quickly.
You don't have to tell me that. I work for a health insurance company.
Well, especially when you're talking about something as technical as sending a rocket to the moon. And all the components, all of the electronics, even down to the screws that they used on it. Somebody has to know something, and if there was a communication breakdown, that's lives that we're talking about, and
assuming it was real, right?
Millions of dollars. Yeah, exactly. I mean,
but like he's saying,
I'm just making
just
an
for the sake of argument,
that,
he's saying that if it's not real, though, it wouldn't be that big of a deal you could compartmentalize everything and still get away with it. And have some guys in a thing,
Yes, but
the only people who need to be in on it would probably be the astronauts or something.
All right, on that same argument, though, take two different departments, right? Let's say it is all fake, right? So you have two highly qualified engineers working in different departments and supposedly putting these pieces together to send somebody into space. You're assuming that these people will be so tunnel vision on fixing their one little part of this puzzle that they wouldn't be able to put together the fact that it doesn't work because of something that's going on over in another department.
That's like building the bridge from two sides. If you don't know where the other bridge started, the other side of the bridge started, you might not meet in the middle.
Well, assuming that you want to stop in the middle, you have two bridges in my book.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I'm just playing. I'm trying to be funny.
Yeah, no, but I mean, you would have two bridges or two halves of bridges, depending on how much material cost and everything like that.
Well, we're talking about the U.S. government, brother. No, I'm just kidding. It don't matter what
they don't have any money.
It don't matter what it costs to put it on credit.
Yes, but if all our understanding of geodesics and everything wasn't correct, how were we so accurate with the Channel Tunnel when it was built between France and the UK?
Right, exactly. I mean, they had to go hand in hand on that
at all. Yeah, I'm actually, I'm talking about just for the sake of his side of the argument for a second, devil's advocate from a fair position. I don't believe in it, obviously.
Hey guys, I just want to let you know I'm not bailing, but I got to go. So I will catch you when I catch you.
All right, Travis, take it easy.
All the best, Travis.
And plus, those are different questions. I was talking about particularly the compartmentalization of, something like a NASA project or something where the guys get fed at the university. They're on their monitors, the information, what's going on. It's 2,000 miles away, shit like that.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that in a certain aspect, but at the same time, the ones that are watching on the monitor are also the ones that watched it go up in the beginning. You know what I mean?
I'm just saying, from his point of view, I can see where he can see like a possible flaw or something. I agree that I take the word for it that the rocket went up,
Right, but here's the thing, right?
I lived in Satellite Beach for a while and watched lots of rockets go up.
If that was the case, in the 60-odd years, 70 years now that man has been putting stuff into orbit, the fact that not one single person has come forward to say that it's all bullshit.
Yeah.
And if it is all to keep us if this whole conspiracy about keeping us under control, would it not be easier to keep us controlled if we were in all living underneath a dome with nowhere to go?
Yeah, it's sort of counterintuitive to the goal there. That's one of the things I first said about it. I was like, wait a minute, more land? I think it's less land. Isn't there more land if you consider also other planets? You know, like, what are you doing? You're isolating yourself into this little... I don't believe there's anything outside of Rhode Island, and you just want to live on Rhode Island, and you know what I mean?
Well, and that's a big problem with some of the flat earthers, is that they have never been outside of their own state or country, or, you know, truthfully, even town.
Right. Hey, just drive across country in the U.S. a couple of times. That'll set you straight. You start thinking about overpopulation and you just laugh the whole way across the country because there's nothing but cows and dirt and grass, fields and woods, and you know what I mean? Just empty space, thousands and thousands of square miles of it.
Yeah, take a plane ride.
All right, guys, I'm going to drop. Alan, thanks very much for the hangout. I'll speak to you guys later.
All right, take it easy.
Take care.
Sorry, you are very welcome there and then.
Selfie life, no camera. Well, guys, this is one of those days. I think we're going to probably go over to the lake or something. We'll see you.
Hey, Grim.
See you, Grim.
Hey, Grim.
All right.
All right, later, guys.
See you, Joe.
I'm thinking, unless anybody's got anything they desperately want to bring up, that might just be a good point to call it an evening on.
Yeah, what time is it there now, Alan?
It's just gone 9 o'clock in the evening.
Oh man, it's almost time for bed, right?
Let's just say I did dust those off a little bit. Good job I had the microphone muted.
Well, I'll hop off here so you can get some sleep. But I guess I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yep, hopefully. Say thank you all for taking part in the show. Thanks to everybody out in YouTube land for watching, because we still have over 60 people with us. So thank you everybody for coming. And I guess I better say good night to all of you.
See you, everybody.